Bears hitting 14, 15-foot turnaround jumpers. You know things are falling your way. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Timberwolves move on. They win a Game 7 in Denver. Perloff, they take out the three-time MVP Nikola Jokic. They are going on to the Western Conference Finals to face the Dallas Mavericks. But this was a game that was very odd because Denver came out like a house on fire and Minnesota looked terrible in the first half. And they were down by 20 points at one time, 15 points at halftime, completely flipped things in the second half. They clamped down on the defense, and Anthony Edwards, who did not have an impressive scoring night at all because he was being double-teamed, was fantastic on the defensive side, really disrupted Jamal Murray. There was nothing Jokic could do. It was such an impressive comeback from the top defensive team in the league.
Oh, man, you're absolutely right about all that, but come on. The Nuggets blew this. Come on, Mike Malone. Sit Jokic. You have a 20-point lead. Get the dude 3 minutes on the bench. The Nuggets were just exhausted. That was a pure fatigue, which is ironic because they're the ones with the mile-high advantage.
Right.
They just had no gas left because Jokic didn't sit the entire game, played 47 minutes. And I know you don't have a backup, but honestly, I just felt like you saw a Nuggets team that was too thin to carry this game home. And I feel just awful if I'm a Denver fan, but you had that game in your hands, and you totally blew it.
Listen, you're right. The role players were bad, but I can't say that Denver didn't have good enough role players when, besides like a Bruce Brown or a Jeff
That's
Green.
A big deal.
I know,
yeah,
but these were the same
deal.
guys. These were the same guys.
Nah, there was no Bruce Brown there. They didn't know where to. They had Christian Brown, who was pretty good, but they generally went once. Michael Porter Jr. showed that he was in panic mode, and Aaron Gordon disappeared, and for some reason Jamal Murray disappeared. They had nowhere to go on their bench. They just had no bench, where Minnesota just feels like they have 7-footers coming out of nowhere, coming onto the court.
Well, and that's not an accident. Minnesota is built to try to take out Denver, and for people might not know the behind the scenes, the man who was the architect of building the Denver Nuggets, a guy named Tim Connolly, is not really like a household name, but he built the Denver Nuggets and then went to Minnesota and essentially built the team to beat the Denver Nuggets. It's like he has the poison and the antidote. You know, this is an interesting moment, and he knew exactly what Minnesota needed. Because I'll be honest, the day that Rudy Gobert gets traded for 4 first-round picks when they already have Karl-Anthony Towns, it was a very surprising move. You thought, oh, Towns is going to be shipped out or what have you. And Naz Reid had even more height for them, and it was all to try to stop Jokic. And it really showed last night in the second half, where they were a bigger team, Minnesota was. They were more committed on the defensive side. And again, I'll credit Anthony Edwards here because he's the breakout star, I guess, of this whole postseason.
Sure.
And he was dreadful offensively. And it was by design, right? Because they were double teaming him, and he stayed disciplined. He didn't try to go 1-on-5 to try to make a point. You know, he stayed within the flow of the offense. And again, like the shooting numbers were bad, but the defense was great.
I totally agree. It's one of those games where if you look at the stat line, you're like, oh, he had a terrible game. And I didn't feel like he was having a terrible game at all. I felt like he was inspiring the team by playing unselfishly. Also, his defense was amazing.
I know.
You keep on coming back to credit the T-Wolves, so that's great. But Gobert in the first half, you say all that about Gobert. Gobert had to leave. He was terrible in the first half.
I know.
Jokic owned him. Like, that was a huge mismatch. Anytime they could get Gobert in one-on-one coverage, it was lights out. So it's funny you say that they were built, but then I thought it was all going wrong. I was like, oh my gosh. I thought, oh, Gobert, this experiment is a total failure. Karl-Anthony Towns is a good offensive player, but he's going to foul out. And I just thought everything was going wrong with Minnesota. Again, I can't get over Denver not being able to finish this.
So the question today, did Denver choke this series and this Game 7 really away? Or did the Minnesota Timberwolves figure something out and come back and beat them rightfully because of something they did? So you are welcome to go to @Maggie and Pearl. You can vote on that. Was it a Denver choke job? Was it Minnesota's incredible comeback?
Yeah, I mean, listen. How many games?
Now he gets to go home. Yes, Jokic can go home to the ponies now.
Yeah. Are you going to count on Rudy Gobert hitting his foul shots? Rudy Gobert hitting a turnaround jumper as the shot clock expires? Mike Conley not shooting all night, then heaving a three-pointer as the shot clock expires? I just think that everything went right for Minnesota. And by the way, I know we weren't going to do this, but I don't feel like Minnesota is a strong favorite because there were 2 Minnesota teams. There was a team that was terrible in the first half, and the team was really good in the second half. I'm not sure with that team what I'm getting moving forward. I just felt like, if the Nuggets had gotten the Western Conference Final, I'd feel really good about them. The T-Wolves, they just feel a little more up and down to me. Yes, they had the bodies last night, and they definitely earned this win in every possible way. But I don't know who they are, because the team that was down 58-38, is that who we're going to see moving forward, or the team that was awesome in the third quarter?
Awesome in the third quarter, really good in the fourth quarter, and to be honest, blew the team out on Friday. Was that Friday, Game 6? Whatever it was. Friday.
That was amazing.
And blew them out. And that's when the Nuggets had a chance to close it out, yes, on the road. But still, they had a chance to close it out when you're the defending champs and you have the 3-time MVP and they couldn't get it done there. And you think, oh, okay, they'll go home for a Game 7 match. Jokic at home. I said it'd be a disappointment. It'd be unforgivable if Jokic lost this game on their home floor. And I feel that way.
Well, let's get into that. Do you really feel like I didn't get that vibe at all at the end of the game last night that Jokic blew this game? I felt like the guys around Jokic,
because Jokic's stat line will always look good. Like, this guy's incapable of a clunker.
But not even that. Like, his effort was 100%. Like, he did everything he could to try and lift that team with him, and they just didn't want to come. And
totally ran out of gas. You could blame Mike Malone for that, his head coach, but this is why I think it's unforgivable. This is the one thing about Jokic and why he gets so much credit. We're talking obviously about Denver loses Game 7 last night to the T-Wolves. They're going home. He has this ability to diagnose everything that's going on the floor. And because he's so in the middle of everything offensively, he can sort of figure out what his team needs. Do they need him to score 50 tonight, or do they need me to have 20 assists tonight? And I thought maybe thought they had this in the bag, would be number one. And two, once they went up 20 points. But 20 points in this NBA is not the same as it used to be, where that's like you can just hang on for the win. And I thought when things started to go sideways and things were falling apart in that third quarter, who are you looking to try to make sure that you stop the bleeding or that you change something up? Yeah, it's the head coach, but it's also the 3-time MVP. Yeah. And we should hold every 3-time MVP to that standard.
Right, and Jokic was the only stopper, the only guy who could score to stop any T-Wolves runs.
I thought to get anyone else involved, though, like trying to make sure that you could get your teammates involved. These are the same guys who won a title. I can't say, there were a bunch of scrubs now when last year they were champions. And I know Bruce Brown was there, but let's be honest. Like, if Bruce Brown was that important, A, Denver would have never let him go, and 2, he'd be the greatest player in the league. So,
the Nuggets
he's not even an all-star.
The Nuggets got 5 points off their bench last night. 5. That's it. Period. And their starting lineup, Michael Porter, unfortunately, I'm a big Michael Porter fan. Just came up very small. Contavious Caldwell-Pope.
Did anyone check his DraftKings account? I'm sorry. Someone had his.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry.
Well, regardless.
That's his brother.
That's not a fair comment.
I'm sorry.
Is there a way to distance myself from that comment in the podcast of the show?
I just would love to know what the over-unders were on his scoring props.
I've watched Michael Porter. Like, that's the best game he has. He definitely can be taken out of a game mentally way before DraftKings came along. And then Caldwell-Pope and Aaron Gordon, that's the Nuggets' superpower. Those two guys.
Yep.
What is Contavious Caldwell-Pope keep championship players when the Lakers let him go?
Yeah, right.
And I don't know what happened to them last night. That's
what it stands for, keep championship players.
Yeah, because the Lakers let him go and they lost, and then he wins a title in Denver. So, yeah, it's not my line. Anyway, KCP, nothing. Aaron Gordon, nothing. What happened to Jamal Murray in the second half? He was unstoppable in the first quarter.
Anthony Edwards got up in his everything.
Yeah, but where was he? Anthony Edwards was covering him in the first quarter, and he was unstoppable. I still don't understand how Denver lost this. I certainly do not put it on Jokic.
Well, if you want to blame Mike Malone, he's a little salty, I would imagine. Team blew a 20-point lead. Here is the Denver Nuggets head coach not feeling it postgame.
How hard is it just to absorb a loss like this after going ahead by 20?
Next question, man. The season's over. That's what's hard. Being up 20. The season's over. You don't understand that. The season's over. It's hard. Stupid questions.
Not stupid.
Yeah, well, dude.
A necessary question. And, I mean, be gracious in losing, man. And this is maybe not the time. You don't love to. With players, I usually give them a lot of grace for post-game interviews. You're in the moment. You're in the throes of it. But the head coach has got to hide it. You've got to put on a little bit of a braver face there. That was a layup question that he would have gotten from 100 reporters in the room.
No, that's not good. I mean, one thing about Mike Malone is his emotion can help the team too. When they were down 0-2, I feel like his tough talk kind of inspired them. So you give and take. I'm sure he'll regret that. I hope he goes back. I've never been around him or anything. He seems like a decent dude. I hope he goes back and apologizes because I hate that and we all hate that when coaches do that. It's terrible. Look, that was a softball question.
Come on. I mean, got to stay up there and take the medicine. And you're a championship coach. You understand what it's been like to be on the top of the mountain. You were at home, game 7, 20-point lead, choked it away. Or Timberwolves came back and won. However you slice it, you got to answer the question. So that was just sort of bad form.
Also a little bad form considering last year he was the coach that was like, give us more attention. Why isn't the media covering us? Why do you keep talking about the Lakers? Yes. All right, well, the media's covering you.
Yeah, here are the
what
questions
do you
we ask.
And you're like, stupid-ass questions. I mean, I don't know.
Totally.
Everyone wants it both ways. Can we hear, please, from Nikola Jokic, Manny? Can I have cut 13? Rejecting the notion that the Timberwolves were not the better team in this series.
You have a 7 game, so over a best of 7. So if someone beats you, I think they're the better team. Congrats to them. We did we have a chances? Of course we did, but when someone beats you, I mean, they're just better. I need to go home.
You need to go home now. Were they just better? I don't know if they were just better. Minnesota's great. We're going to talk about them a lot moving forward, and Anthony Edwards and the front court of Gobert and Towns and Naz Reid and all the amazing players they have. But were they the better team?
I'm not sure.
Think so.
Well, one thing about Joker, I can even hear it. He's tired because he had all these tall Minnesota guys hanging all over him, and he had to push Gobert around, as Charles kept saying, like a rag doll. So I just think he wore down a little bit. He was 2 for 10 from 3 last night. He hasn't shot well from 3 all series. Last year, as I recall, non-scientifically, he didn't miss a 3 for the entire last month of the season.
Yeah, I think
and
you're right
now,
about that.
I think he was tired. That's not an excuse. I guess he's still fight. I feel like we're watching Larry Bird, Magic Johnson with him. Like maybe not Magic, but he's an all-time player. And nothing I saw last night, no one except Michael Jordan won 6 titles in a row. He's still an all-time player, and I didn't see anything last night that dissuaded me from that.
Him going 0 for 7 from 3 to start the game.
I understand. Larry Bird did that sometimes.
Sure.
Rarely, but I mean, still, he missed his 3s. There's no doubt about it.
And in a game 7.
But he didn't want to take them.
He didn't want to. He was off from 3s.
Yeah.
The dude had no legs, but he was still coming at them the entire game.
But they also, I think they were happy when he was settling for 3s.
Yeah, they wanted him out there.
You're playing right into Minnesota's game plan there in the second half. So,
but then he did hit a couple because they kept daring him to do it. Then he started hitting them.
I think the one thing I want to say quick about asking the question if the T-Wolves are better or the Nuggets are better. The one thing you guys say about the T-Wolves, they won 3 games on the road.
Yeah.
It's rare the team that won 3 games on the road, you would say that was not the better team.
Including
in the
a game
series.
7.
Yes, and they won a game 7. Remember, they basically dominated them the first 2 games of the series. So maybe it's easy to look at a 20-point deficit and say, okay, maybe they kind of snuck the Nuggets and the Nuggets choked it away. But this is a team that at times in this series had their way with Denver.
This is what happens when you commit to defense. You actually can win any game. Now, in the other series, I was talking about the other game 7, that was more of an offensive situation when it comes to the Pacers and the Knicks, but we'll talk about that coming up. So the question for you today, did Denver choke away game 7, or do you give Minnesota credit for how they came back from a 20-point deficit and won that game, won that series? Tough look for me.
It's not a tough look. It's a tough event coming up.
It's a tough break.
I thought Gassers were going to be hard.
I would trade places with you. I will do that.
We'll negotiate that in a second.
Okay, so just to get everyone up to speed, EJ lost a bet. He's got to run Gassers with Pete Pilati holding the whistle and doing maybe some other football drills. We're still nailing all the details down. And then I lost a bet now to Perloff. I thought the Nuggets were going to win this series, and I was feeling extra confident when they were up by 20. And so I'm looking up places where Perloff's, punishment was going to be eating Rocky Mountain oysters, which is bull's testicles. And I've been scouring the city to try to figure out where to get such a delicacy.
Yes, I was Googling last night at halftime, where do I get Rocky Mountain oysters? And I was actually looking forward to eating those. It's supposed to be a delicacy.
Well, you still could. I mean, it's a free country. But I have to eat now, because Minnesota won, this sort of Nordic-inspired dish, which is a lime jello concoction that has tuna fish on it and green olives in the inside.
Well, green olives are optional, and we are going to take that option.
Green olives is the only thing I like out of all these ingredients. I just can't even fathom eating them all together. This feels like a bad episode of Chopped.
Well, you picture this lime jello tuna concoction. Which would make it grosser? To have it bright green or to have it sort of a tuna-colored brown?
It's too early for this.
The tuna-colored brown. I have images on the internet of this. I think we should vote. What do we make Maggie eat? The bright green version or the tuna brown version?
There's brown jello?
No, because there's so much tuna mixed in with the jello.
Gosh,
and the tuna has to be out of a can, obviously.
And by the way, when I do pay off this bets, because Maggie always pays her debts around here, like Game of Thrones, like the Lannisters, I'm not doing it until the last hour of the show. Grant me that. I can't eat that stuff at 6 o'clock Eastern time. It's not okay.
It's up to me. It'd be 9:50, so you can hurl, and I can just leave the studio. The show's already over.
Yeah, D-Cell have to clean
It's not like you've ever thrown up at a radio. Oh, yeah, you have.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was different. I ate a
How
whole
was that
pizza
different?
in 2 hours and threw it up right in the studio. Because pizza's an enjoyable thing to eat under most circumstances. This is going to be awful from limb to limb. Ugh. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Rough break for me. I think I'm in denial. You are welcome to weigh in. Did Minnesota win this Game 7 or did Denver choke it away? 855-212-4227. We'll get into the other Game 7 with some sad faces on the other side of the glass. EJ, Manny, chin up, guys. I actually don't have much to be very
I know.
Optimistic for you, but we'll find something. 855-212-4227. Maggie and Perloff on this Monday. Come on back.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Minny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan, but they just witnessed the crushing defeat. 76ers taking the victory, man. That's hard to beat. Sitting in the studio talking about the game, Maggie and Perloff, it ain't all the same. Perloff's a Philly fan. It's hard to stand when your team's on top and your heart's in your hand. Man, Minny and EJ, they're lost and confused. Knicks played hard, but it wasn't what they used to. Every missed shot, every turn, oh, they saw leaving them shocked. They can't believe what they're in for. Minny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan, but they just witnessed the crushing defeat. 76ers taking the victory, man. That's hard to beat. Sitting in the studio talking about the game, Maggie and Perloff, it ain't all the same. Perloff's a Philly fan. It's hard to stand when your team's on top and your heart's in your hand. Man, Minny and EJ, they're lost and confused. Knicks played hard, but it wasn't what they used to. Every missed shot, every turn, oh, they saw leaving them shocked. They can't believe what they're in for. Minny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan, but they just...
Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
There's a little extra pep in my step here. I love nothing more than when Maggie loses a bet and has to do something awful. Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So we bet on
tell me how you really feel.
We bet on the T-Wolves Nuggets. I just put up on Twitter 4 pictures of a lime jello tuna concoction, which she has to eat.
This is not right, what you just put up
Yeah,
there. How dare you? I'm not eating that.
So I guess I looked up foods that were famous from Minnesota, and I found this thing called lutefisk, which is a gelatinous fish combination. There was also this beautiful lime jello tuna combination. I've been reading about it. It comes from the Depression when they couldn't afford real ingredients.
Great.
And now you're eating it. And it is the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life. Here's the question. Maggie, I will give you a choice. Do you want it to be bright green, or do you want it to be more of a traditional throw-up color?
Yeah. Well, thank you for the options. I feel like I have a real choice here. You just posted these 4 photos.
Yes.
Please, Lord, I'll take the green jello-looking one. The brown is beyond. See, this is a photo. The last one, it's all brown. It maybe has like shaved carrots in there and some other things. And you look at it and like several slices are missing.
Yeah.
Who is the madman or madwoman who actually ate this at a party?
Just the fact that you have a choice. Which do you want the main coloring to be? The tuna fish color or the green jello / olives? So there's one here. I don't even know what these vegetables that are frozen in place in the jello. And honestly,
it looks like a mango. That can't be.
This is terrible.
Can you make it sweet or savory?
Yes,
no.
it's both.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Now, when I asked you last week, you
Hi,
were
BOGUSCH.
going to make this for yourself. Is that still happening?
I
Wait,
trust
what?
myself more than I trust Perloff.
No. We get to do this. Plus, also, I don't think Maggie could get through making it herself.
No, I
think,
probably can't.
No. I mean, she doesn't like any kind of slimy food. But this is taking it to the next level.
Oh, how funny. So we were talking about like my food hang-ups about like rice puddings and flans and stuff like that. And I go out to dinner. My best friend came for my birthday. We went out to this fancy restaurant for dinner. Beautiful, great people watching the whole deal. And then, of course, they bring out like the dessert at the end with a candle in it, and it was tiramisu.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, great.
You're the only person I've ever met who doesn't like tiramisu.
I know, it's the texture. I can't do it.
Tiramisu, that's not like flan. It's not a custard.
But it's got that pudding type thing.
Creme brulee.
Nope, not my thing.
Oh, wow.
Creme brulee? Come on.
These are desserts with 100% approval rating, except for Maggie.
Guys, you ever heard of a chocolate cake? We can't just have a chocolate cake.
Tapioca pudding.
No.
Hey, so I have
She's
a question.
not 80.
I can't have bubble tea. I can't eat any of that
Wait, so I have a
stuff.
question, Maggie. Though you grew up in the food business.
Yeah, I did.
Did your family make these dishes? Any of these?
So here's a little. So yes, my parents made incredible wedding cakes, like beautiful custom cakes, gorgeous.
That's so cool.
It was so cool. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret of the restaurant business, though. Unless they specifically say there's a pastry chef in house that makes this stuff, for the most part, your desserts are store bought. It's just generally it can be not worth the time to make desserts like that. And so unless, like they say, pastry chef and the whole deal, generally our desserts are generally store-bought.
But not a wedding cake.
No, the wedding cakes were homemade and
your
beautiful.
parents could make those wedding cakes?
Oh, gorgeous, with the fondant and all the beautiful
Like
stuff.
the Cake Boss?
Yeah, I've got photo. I can show them to you. They're
Wow,
magnificent.
I'll watch any show on those kind of bakers. That's so cool. I didn't know. I knew your parents were in the restaurant business, but I thought like baking was a different thing. Only certain people had that skill.
Well, have you guys ever done the thing when you got married and then you save the top of the wedding cake?
Sure.
And then you eat it a year later?
I've heard of that.
You guys didn't do that?
No.
We did.
We did too.
Yeah.
And it made you realize, man, we've probably been eating a lot of year-old wedding cakes.
Yep.
My parents wouldn't have ever done that. But it tastes exactly the same when you defrost it.
Not a big cake guy.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not a big
Why don't you like cake?
I'm not a big Jell-O pudding
I don't know.
with tuna fish on it girl.
I don't even remember our wedding. Yeah, we did not have. We should have had your parents. Our wedding cake was not memorable.
That's okay. Your wedding certainly was, because I heard about it in the office.
Yeah, no, that was a mess. But
Sports
I would've
Illustrated,
preferred-
Perloff's wedding is epic.
yeah, I had the worst best man speech in the history of wedding speeches.
Oh, I don't think you did. I know.
Dude.
I saw one. I saw one last year. That was there. Let's just say there's still issues in our friend group because of it.
Yeah, I've been married for 15 years, and there's every day it is brought up. Every day. It's brought by my wife or friends. It was the worst wedding speech in the history of wedding. And not only
Glad
that.
everyone's over it.
Yeah, so it was at a fancy, very, very conservative place with a conservative crowd, and it was not a conservative
We
speech.
can laugh about it now. You don't.
No. No.
Perloff gets so serious when we talk about
Oh,
this. Anyway,
yeah.
we got sidetracked into
Yeah.
weddings and stuff, but what's at stake here is I got to eat this lime Jell-O
Right.
tuna fish onion thing.
Yeah, and Bogusch asked if you served that at your wedding because your parents were in the restaurant.
Yeah, this one didn't make the cut. Jim is in Texas, has a thought for me. Good morning, Jim.
Maggie, that is not tuna fish. I'm from Minnesota. That is actually live cod.
Oh,
and if you think you can't get over the look of it, wait till you get to the taste and the texture. Because it has no flavor. And typically what a lot of people do is they take hot mustard and put on it to get it some flavor. Because lutefisk does not have any flavor. And it sits there and jiggles like a bowl of Jell-O. So you're going to have a lot of fun with that. Really enjoy it.
Wait, Jim, having no flavor, I think, could rescue me. Now, I don't like the texture, so actually, the flavor is secondary. But if no flavor might help me. I was afraid it was going to taste awful.
No, it won't. No, it won't, because it's going to feel like you're eating non-flavored Jell-O. If you can ever imagine that.
That sounds awful.
Terrible.
But lutefisk, I've had lutefisk. It's pretty good. If you like that kind of thing.
and I don't. Jim, thank you. And I guess for the warning, hot mustard? Can I put a hot mustard on it?
On Jell-O and
Horseradish,
fish?
maybe?
You should just quit. I mean, at this point, just go home.
Is that an option?
I think it always is.
I guess.
Real quick left turn story, similar. So my mom is Norwegian.
Yeah.
My grandmother was born in
Love
Oslo.
you, Carol.
5th grade, it was Heritage Day at our school, and you're supposed to bring in a food from your heritage. So my mom, God bless her, looked up somewhere a recipe called fish balls. She brought a gigantic tray of fish balls to our 5th grade class.
That'll make you popular at school.
Was
Kobe there for that one?
No, I was harassed
Lower Merion?
nonstop for weeks because my mom brought in fish balls.
Honestly, it's a good nickname.
Yeah. Oh, it was
Fish balls,
bad. It was
Perloff.
bad.
Just fish balls.
I'm glad the Perloff served me and my brother cheesesteaks when we visited.
Yeah. Oh, no.
You
Like, she
lucked
gave
out.
up on Norwegian foods. Yeah.
Fish balls.
Yeah, fish balls was bad. Did you guys ever have that bring in a dish thing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. I brought tacos.
Yeah.
I wish I was in Maddie's class.
Brought mac and cheese.
Oh,
I did
yeah.
that once.
Maggie,
No,
you
we
know
didn't
fish
do
balls,
that
yeah.
actually
Yeah.
because Funny story, my elementary school had a raging case of hepatitis A.
Ooh, not the kind you want.
Well, hepatitis C is kind of the like Tommy Lee, Pamela Anderson varietal.
That's the fun one?
Yeah, that's the fun one. The hepatitis A was still probably in a petri dish in upstate New York somewhere. And so no more, you can no longer do bake sales or any kind of thing. All food-related items were banned immediately. And
for how long?
I think still. They're still wrapping their arms around this in the mid-90s.
This is not funny, but one of the major causes of Hep A in America is lime jello tuna.
Yeah, wow. Thank you. We're patient
Most
zero.
cases, you come into the ER with Hep A, they're like, did you eat the lime jello tuna?
Yeah. Well, to see your
Get
vax card
Jell-O.
before.
Yeah.
Get the hot mustard.
Spray it in your eyeballs.
Yeah.
So, Minnesota won Game 7. Bogusch has the other details. Good morning.
Headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. Whose jersey do you burn and who do you curse out after losing Game 7 at home to a Pacers team that didn't even include Roy Hibbert? The Knicks are the first team in NBA history to win the NBA title in round 1, but then failed to reach the conference final. Jalen Brunson, 17 points, 9 assists. I hope you step on a Lego.
Before breaking his left hand in the third quarter.
Definitely proud of what we were able to do this year and proud of how we fought night in and night out. And obviously the outcome is not what we wanted, but the way we fought, man, it's awesome.
Brunson only played 29 minutes. OG Anunoby played the first 5 of yesterday's game, but could not actually return fully from his hamstring injury. The Pacers shot an NBA postseason record 67% from the floor. They won 130-109 to reach their first Eastern Conference final in a decade. 4 players scored 19-plus, led by Tyrese Halliburton's 26.
Bogusch, I hope you win the lottery and lose your ticket.
Not to be outdone by the Knicks, the Nuggets wasted a 20-point third-quarter lead, bowed out to the T-Wolves 98-90 in their Game 7 in Denver. Nikola Jokic trying to explain the collapse by the champs.
That's what happens, sometimes you make shots, sometimes you miss shots, and today I think we didn't miss shots. I think we missed a lot of good shots, but that's not just on us. They played some good defense. That's why the number 1 defense in the NBA.
Jokic scored 34, 35 from Jamal Murray, but the rest of the Nuggets had 21 total. Denver's the 5th champ in a row to fail to reach the conference final the following spring. The T-Wolves getting this far for the first time in 20 years. Karl Anthony Towns, Jaden McDaniels led them with 23. Cat has seen a lot of bad in Minnesota, so he enjoyed last night.
I definitely had a moment. I've been here 9 years. I've talked about wanting to win and do something special here at this organization. And, for all the failures and all the things that didn't materialize and happen and the disappointment that comes with it, to be having this moment where even just for this moment, we get to celebrate the wins.
Game 1 with Dallas is on Wednesday night. And Ligori has been saying his name like he was a major champ for years.
Xander Schauffele.
But Xander Schauffele did not win one of golf's main events until yesterday with a tie-breaking birdie on the final hole at the PGA Championship at Valhalla. He finished at 21 under par, 1 shot better than Bryson DeChambeau. That minus 21, the lowest ever final score at a major.
So we're really going to remember this PGA Championship for Xander Schauffele finally breaking through, right?
Correct.
Nobody's
Nothing
going to remember
else.
nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, remember that PGA where Schauffele won?
Yeah, instead our whole show on Friday was basically just watching the craziness of Scottie Scheffler going to jail.
Yeah, and Xander Schauffele won.
Wire to wire.
That's
like a nice
a
guy.
trivia question. Like, who won the tournament?
Yes,
the weekend
exactly.
Scottie Scheffler got arrested.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad, though. I was not looking forward to the possibility of Scheffler winning and people with all the hot takes of like how incredible is winning after being arrested on Friday morning.
Why? That would have been you're telling me you didn't want that story?
I did not.
Get out
No.
of here. That would have been the best story ever.
No thanks.
Not best story ever, but it would have certainly livened up our PGA coverage today. We might not have led Nuggets T-Wolves.
All of a sudden, you have like Will Zalatoris, like it just like spray painting like something. A guy's trying to get arrested.
Yeah,
See if it'll help him.
But I mean, as a content person, you can't say you didn't want Scottie Scheffler to win the PGA.
Sure, content, yes. The actual quality of that content, no thank you.
I think it would have been funny about it's such a copycat. Everything's so copycat,
Okay.
Stealing things, punching folks on the way in.
I was just thinking, where Glenn Davis, who's also going to jail for a little bit for some white collar crime stuff, said, I can't wait to go to jail because I'm going to lose so much weight. Like we're spinning jail here in a real positive light. I don't know if that's
I was
right.
going to say Big Baby Davis and Scottie Scheffler, not the same thing in this particular case.
Okay, fair, but still, it's like trying to put a silver lining on jail.
Yeah.
Where there really isn't one.
No. But you can shoot a 66 and go to jail on the same day, which apparently.
Good place to start your stretching routine in the clink.
The San Diego Padres, a 9-1 win in Atlanta last night. Yu Darvish, 7 scoreless for a career-long 25-inning scoreless streak. And finally, America's sweetheart, Greg Olsen, is taking a $7 million pay cut, the financial version of eating tuna jello on national sports radio, as he makes his way out of the Fox's #1 booth so Tom Brady can take his seat. Olsen told USA Today he and Brady spoke recently so TB12 could pick his brain about the job he was taking from him. Olsen said there is no telling how Brady will do. It is not an easy job. It's not just talking football, and there is no correlation between a player's on-field success and his or her ability to then work in TV.
Okay, one question. If you were the Greg Olsen here and Tom Brady comes to you for advice, would you actually give him the real stuff, or would you give him bad advice? Would you withhold things? Be like, what you want to do is as soon as Kevin Burkhardt calls touchdown, just jump all over it, pull Romo.
I feel like you got to give him good advice because Tom has talked to too many other broadcasters that if Greg is all of a sudden telling him something crazy, he's going to be, all right, this guy is just trying to screw me.
Right. I guess so.
Tom has said that he's talked to a lot of people.
Would you withhold the good stuff, though?
What is the good stuff? Like, what advice is there? It feels like every color guy is kind of different.
Well, these are all the people he's going to be working with.
Got it. Oh, because he knows the crew so well.
The crew so well, what producers like, what the director is like, all the, the 30 people who are behind the scenes.
I mean, Troy Aikman didn't ask John Madden for advice, and then boom. Like, there's no, system
First
here.
you eat the turkey, then the duck.
Yeah, I think, and it's funny you say Tom Brady, if he jumps all over Burkhardt, nobody's going to care. He's Tom Brady.
Well,
and I don't agree with that. Great players are just viewed differently. When Tom Brady says something, the bar is much lower for it to be interesting because it's Tom Brady. So Olsen is probably wrong about that.
No,
in some sense.
But like a lot of people have failed at this job because they could not actually do it.
And we thought they'd be good because they were great players.
But you don't want to like a backup quarterback no one ever heard of on the A game, though.
Well, here's the thing. Some of the guys who haven't been good, who have been really big stars, like Drew Brees or something, if Drew Brees got to stick with it and say he did it as long as Greg Olsen did it, Greg Olsen's been doing this for a couple of years now. If Drew Brees had been like, you know what, I'm so dedicated to broadcasting, wouldn't he have gotten better? I mean, it's a muscle thing. I mean, we all know. We get tons of reps. We're lucky.
Brees was just sort of like you're right. Like he
made so
terrible.
much money. I don't think he's like, why would I stick around and get roasted online and do something I'm not that good at? I think a lot of guys who are all-time great players, they can't stand the failure of it, and it's on a big stage. And
they're also setting them up to fail though, because they're skyrocketing these folks straight to being the #1 game, or you're on the set for the Super Bowl. Like a lot of the better broadcasters, they didn't start their first job being the #1 broadcaster. Now, some guys have been able to do that and make careers out of it, like Tony Romo, but then there are a lot of others who haven't.
I know, but in retrospect, it wouldn't have been better for Romo, even though he was out of the gate with an incredible season. It might have been better for him to start because now it doesn't sound as great.
Right, but these guys they're never going to do that, though, because they command... Because of, I don't know what's happened with the broadcasting and the contracts now, but these guys command so much money now that they're like, if you're a Tony Romo, you're Tom Brady, like there's no way you're gonna go starting on Bucks and Panthers to start your career. Like there's no reason to.
No,
you
you're
can
paying
command
them
way
too
much more money. You can command way much more of a spotlight. So we're going to keep seeing this, and we're going to keep getting hits or misses when it comes to these guys at this top level.
Yeah, but who are the all-time, like, who's not? Drew Brees was kind of in the studio and did Notre Dame games. There haven't been, I think you have a lot of leeway as a color guy. Like, honestly, like Brady.
Because the game
Tom Brady.
is the thing.
Yeah, the game is the thing. And for, like, example, Nance kind of saves Romo to a large degree.
Tries.
He tries. Jim. But I think.
What a day.
I think Brady's going to get a lot of leeway.
Martin Luther King. What a day.
Don't you think?
He should have a day after him. Thank you, Tony.
I mean, it's
to learn more, visit realizethedream.org.
What a day. Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh, God.
Deserves to have a day named after him.
Olsen told Brady, don't do this.
That guy probably needed to do Bucks Panthers in hindsight.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if Brady called Romo.
By the
Don't do
way,
it.
Tony Romo, the best thing Brady's got going is the fact that Romo's on the other network right now.
I think it's
What a
sweet though
day.
that you think that Tom Brady will have a long leash. He's Brady. People already want him to fail. It's 2024 with Twitter and like there is no leash. Now, Fox is not going to fire him, but he's going to get bashed from the first quarter of his first game.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. Like Gruden was awful. I mean, awful. He became the highest paid employee at ESPN.
See, I don't think he was awful. I loved Gruden.
Well,
I think it was great.
oh my God, he was so random toward the end. You really, you loved.
I thought
there
he
were
was
some
great.
memorable things about Gruden, but they also ESPN went through a 2-year stretch where they had the worst Monday night games of all time. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Everyone was just a clunker, and it wasn't their fault, but there was no flex schedule, and they just got some really bad luck.
Oh my God, I
was
can't
rough.
believe you love Gruden in this
A lot of
serious
people
way.
loved Gruden. I don't know why you're acting like this is. a lot of
Gruden,
people-
because
I
he
thought
was
you loved Gruden.
I loved Gruden because he was hysterical. He was off, off his rocker.
Like in an ironic kind of way.
Yeah.
Right,
Like
that
he
makes him
was.
good.
I don't even know what game he was calling half the time.
And I don't think that's on the table for Brady. I don't think he's going to be endearingly bad.
Yeah.
He just might suck.
How many years do you think Brady does this?
I don't think he does it long. I
Like
think
more than
I think
5?
he'll be really good. But I don't think he does it long.
I think
Fewer than 5 years?
One thing
Yes.
about Tom Brady,
Yeah.
he clearly needs to stay engaged. I mean, he needs to be active. Maybe ownership is next.
I really don't know why Brady's doing this, to be honest. This seems a little beneath him.
$375 million.
Oh yeah, okay. I know why he's doing it. I still feel like it's beneath him though.
I think he needs to stay busy, and he's not sure what to do.
Yeah, but I mean, like he's a mogul. At least he should be. Like he should be able to find a way. Like there aren't these all-time great players at Brady's level that are doing this.
Like who? Like
Michael Jordan didn't do this.
Yeah, but I mean, Peyton Manning does it.
Didn't Joe
but he does it in a
Montana do
whole different way,
bit?
though.
Did Joe do it?
Probably. Yeah, I think I don't know. He
Montana
probably
did
wasn't
it and
good.
failed because he's in the USA Today article.
Yeah.
He's one of the people that didn't do a good job. Bill
Yep.
Walsh, too, sucked on TV.
Really? I don't remember
Bill
that.
Walsh was on TV.
I think that's the point. You don't remember.
Thank you. You are still welcome to weigh in on whether or not the Timberwolves won Game 7 last night or did Denver choke it away. Coming up, we switch over to the Pacers coming into the Garden and silencing all the celebrities in the crowd and putting out the season on the Knicks. We will get to that next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Get used to more of this song. Celtics Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll get to that in just a moment. Jay is in Nashville, though, has the thought. We were talking about Tom Brady in the last segment because Greg Olsen said he gave Brady some advice about what it's like to be a broadcaster, especially on that number one Fox team. And Jay, you have a thought on Brady as a broadcaster? Go ahead.
No, not really Brady as a broadcaster, but I think EJ was right. Like, you're kind of throwing him to the wolves. Like, he's like, let him get some training first. You're just going to throw him at the top spot, and he hasn't even been proven yet. I mean, and plus you got Greg Olsen, who everybody already likes. Like, why even mess with that quick? You know what I mean? I know it's Brady or whatever, but like you guys said, they did the same thing with Drew Brees. Look what happens. But, I mean, and then look what's happened with Tony Romo now. Like, I don't know. It's almost like the dude's like smoking hashish before he gets on the radar on the TV. But, I mean,
maybe that might make it
better. I don't
better.
know. It's like, why would you... yeah, probably. But it's like, why would you do this? But I don't know. It is Brady, and this is the type of stuff that makes people sick about Brady. Like, they'll just like, oh, Brady can do it, and it's like, man, here we go. You know what I mean? And then we got to hear the guy's name like every weekend.
Yeah.
Like we hear Aaron Rodgers' name all the time last year. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not hoping the guy does bad. I'm just saying, like, why? Like EJ's right. Like, why would you make a move like this?
Well, the money's a big part of it. I mean, to get Tom Brady to even do this, Jay, you've got to throw boatloads of cash at him. So to pay him that much to not be on the number one team, because let's not forget what's waiting at the end of the season for Brady and for Fox. is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you can't have this whole season go and not have – you can't be paying Tom Brady $30+ million a year and not have him do the Super Bowl. It'd be a terrible allocation of resources.
Well, Jay, you say what else? Why do this? But what is Tom Brady going to do otherwise? The guy's got to keep his mind occupied or he's going to go into total depression.
I mean, but that's a him problem. That ain't our problem. That ain't anybody else's problem.
Making it
and
our
then on
problem.
top of that,
Yeah.
and it's almost like you're giving him an old school rookie contract. Remember how rookies used to get paid all this money and
Jamarcus Russell?
Field yet?
Yeah, Sam Bradford.
Oh my God. Yeah, so it's kind of like, wow, I don't know. I don't know. And tell you the truth, Dave, if you ask me, I really think all these broadcasts and these TV deals are kind of like messing sports up. And it's kind of like you guys need to chill with all this stuff. But I'm not saying you guys, but I'm saying these networks. It's kind of like you're throwing all this money, and you kind of like, I don't know, don't start diluting the game, with all this, broadcast money. But, oh, yeah, Maggie Cakes, another movie or another series you got to watch. I watched it all this weekend. I couldn't stop watching. It's that called The Outer Ranch. It's season 2. And I just barely found out last month that dude was the big brother in the Goonies. I was wondering this whole time, like, where do I know this guy from?
Josh Brolin?
I think his name.
Well, Josh
I
Brolin.
think he's the big brother from Goonies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh Brolin was a great older brother. Oh, he was so perfect in the The Outer Ranch. Never heard
Outer
of
Range.
it. Excuse me, Outer Range.
Of course you have.
Yeah, The Outer Range. Yeah, The Outer Range, man. It's on Amazon.
Jay, of any show that Maggie will ever watch, Outer Range is the bottom of the list.
A science fiction neo-western? No, I'm out.
Yeah.
Thank
by the
you,
way, the
though,
fact
Jay.
that you guys remember,
Maggie's a closet nerd. Maggie's a closet nerd, man.
not at all.
Don't buy that.
Not at all. By the way, the fact
Jay.
that you guys remember Josh Brolin from Goonies and Outer Range and not Thanos or one of his many Oscar-winning
He's
performances.
Thanos?
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
You actually have to be kidding me.
He's
today.
also
Jay,
he's in No
Jay.
Country for Old Men, who's one of the top movies of all
that
time.
was amazing. Why are you guys such nerds?
There's also Cable.
Who's that?
Can you
in
cut?
Deadpool 2. Cable.
Why are you guys such nerds?
Yeah, what's up? You're
Why
like
are you Dorcas Malorcas? I'm not a closet nerd, guys. This is not an act. I didn't know that. But that's cool. Josh Brolin's a great actor. I'm always shocked by all these comic book movies have such good actors. Bogusch just barged through the door.
I'm just coming to your defense. I don't want you to be outnumbered. I had no idea that Josh Brolin was Thanos.
No clue.
No idea.
Have you seen Avengers?
Are you actually serious?
Yeah,
He's
I had
never
no
in any
idea.
of the trailers that I see on TV.
He's got some makeup on, guys. That could have been Lou Ferrigno underneath there or
it's
somebody
makeup.
else.
Well,
Like,
it's CGI, but his face is obviously Josh Brolin.
I can see that. It's not so obvious.
thank you.
My gosh, you guys
But,
are unbelievable.
I was today years old when I learned that. So cool.
Did you?
I'm still
Well,
gonna watch
Maggie,
it.
did you see either the Dune movies?
No.
Oh my God, they're
you didn't
sick.
see Dune either?
No. Why would I watch Dune?
I'll tell you the
I don't
greatest.
know, it made like $1 billion. A lot of people watched it.
The best Josh Brolin role as the cop in Sicario. Oh,
Okay, that's good.
He's great in The Brothers in Goonies too.
He's
That
so
guy's
good in
had a
Goonies.
killer career. Outer Range, by the way, I have not watched, to be honest. Have you
Dork.
guys watched Outer Range?
No.
No, I've not given it
I've
a
heard
shot.
really, really good things.
About a Wyoming rancher.
Yeah, it's supposed to. I think it's a pretty big show. It's on
Isn't that
Prime,
like,
right?
Is it like Outer Range, Yellowstone? Are these all just the same
No,
show?
this is totally different than Yellowstone. Yellowstone's supposed to be historical.
Or like Westworld?
Oh, you know what?
I'm sorry. I watched
I gave it to
Deadwood.
you.
I watched Deadwood.
Good show.
That was a great show.
No, but okay.
But there's no sci-fi about Deadwood. That's where you lose me. The only sci-fi I do is Game of Thrones and subsequent spin-offs. That's it.
Yeah, this is more of an outer space kind of thing.
Yeah, see, I don't love space. I want to stay right here.
Okay, so everything
normal
Elon
things.
Musk is
I
up
want
to.
I want to
Yeah.
breathe regular air.
So
And
if you were a billionaire, you would not try and create a rocket to space.
I don't want to go to space, and I don't want to go to the bottom of the ocean either.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That didn't go well for the last time
Yeah.
that happened. So.
I just want to stay on the earth.
And eat lime jello tuna.
No, I don't. All right, we got to get to the Knicks. Knicks Pacers. Oh boy. Pacers could not miss yesterday. But the question is, Tom Thibodeau running his players into the ground, did that have anything to do with why they lost? We'll get to that next.
Yep.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
They're diehard. Minny and EJ, they're diehard.
Peter Bellotti, he made a prediction, said that he gonna win. Celtics got no conviction, but now he's hiding, running away, won't own up to his words, can't face the dismay. He thought Miami would rise like the sun in the sky, but now he's got excuses, got no alibi. He thought the Heat had it, it was a sure bet, but they couldn't handle Boston, not just yet. Peter Bellotti, where you at now? You made a bold choice, but where's your wow? Can't stand the heat in the kitchen. Your predictions cold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold.
Minny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan, but they just witnessed a crushing defeat. 76ers taking the victory, man. That's hard to beat. Sitting in the studio, talking about the game. Maggie and Perloff, it ain't all the same. Perloff's a Philly fan. It's hard to stand when your team's on top and your heart's in your hand. Minny and EJ, been lost and confused. Knicks played hard, but it wasn't what they used to. Every missed shot, every turn, oh, they saw leaving them shot. They can't believe what they're in for. Minny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the Big Apple. They're part of the grand plan.
Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Pacers up 15, 3:39 left in the third. Halliburton dances to his right, wheels at the edge of the arc, and drops a 3 from the right side, his 6th of the game.
My, oh my, what a response here, pushing this thing back to 18 by the Pacers.
Shocking result, and congratulations to the Pacers. And I say shocking just because MSG and the Knicks, Perloff, had enjoyed this incredible home court advantage. No road team had won a game in this series, and you thought, all right, this is just going to go sort of how the whole series is gone, and the home team's going to win Game 7. Pacers had other ideas. They could not miss to start this game. At one point, Indiana was shooting 80% from the field.
Only the all-time best shooting playoff game in history from a team that I know they're very good at offense, but did not see this coming, especially against the gritty Knicks and that defense. I was dead wrong about that game. I thought the same thing you did, that the atmosphere in the Garden was just going to carry the Knicks despite the injuries.
Yep, and that was the story, the injuries. And it's been the story with the Knicks because they kept losing guys left and right. Mm-hmm. And Josh Hart and OG Anunoby, well, Hart played yesterday. Anunoby tried to play through a hamstring. He could only last about 4 minutes. He was totally compromised out there. They had to get him off the floor. But it was kind of, I'm sorry to say this because I know I got Knicks fans here. I don't want to say it was a fitting end because that's not right, and you're never wishing any injuries on someone. But the idea that they were this injured in such a variety of ways became the story, and it was the Knicks overcoming the injuries until finally they just ran out of bodies. And then the final nail in the coffin was Jalen Brunson fractured his hand at one point, hitting it off of a player's knee as they were going for a fast break layup or dunk maybe, and that was like, I think everyone was waiting for maybe some late heroics and for the Knicks to kind of turn this on. But once Brunson's hand was broken, that just took all the air out of the team. And, listen, some of these injuries for the Knicks, total fluke, including Jalen Brunson's hand, breaking his hand. But the foot injury, the hamstrings, and other things, you have to wonder if it is some overuse. And the Knicks players were top 5 and top 10 in minutes played all season long. It's admirable that they were even able to limp as far as they were, but they were the 2 seed going against a 6 seed, and had it not been for the injuries, they're playing in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, but it wasn't just the injuries. Can I say one thing, too?
Go ahead.
You can't play guys 48 minutes, 10 games in a row. It's fatigue, too. I mean, that's not just injuries. I'm saying, I mean, how much legs do these guys have? And it's not like EJ's not going to like this. You're not playing Hall of Fame players 47, 48 minutes. You're playing close to journeymen. And journeymen in the sense that guys who've been on 5 teams. Right. I don't know. Are DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, are they NBA stars or are they journeymen? And they're playing 48 minutes a night.
Well, I think that the cool thing about the Nova Knicks, where it was about chemistry and it was about guys who knew each other and could trust each other. And then you add in good players. OG Anunoby is a champion. He's a good player. And they were kind of, I think, playing above their weight class a little bit, perhaps all season long. I mean, Randall's a good player, but Randall was an unproven playoff player. So you were always wondering about that. The long faces on the other side. You guys this is mourning. So here's the thing. There's a lot of grief going on because the Knicks season is over and it was a fun season. But if you're just going to chalk it up to the injuries, then why are you guys so down and depressed? If you think all that happened and Tom Thibodeau is not responsible for any of this and it was just terrible luck, then why aren't you a little happier today about what your team actually accomplished versus being so down?
Because every season matters, and you feel like had things gone differently, this Knicks season goes differently. Now, look, I'm very optimistic about next season. I'm very optimistic about this Knicks core. This is the first time I feel like the Knicks have a core that actually can win a championship. But you just know, just like this season, any season can break any way with injuries and stuff. So when you consider the stuff that happened over the course of the season that led the Knicks to have that skeleton crew that played that Game 7, it's frustrating because you feel like, what if they were healthy and they got the Celtics in a 7-game series, especially now that they might have had Porzingis for 2 or 3 games to start. That's the frustration.
No, I get it. But this is so I asked people out there, do you blame Thibodeau at all? And people got mad, big mad. How dare you, and how dare you blame Thibodeau? But I ask you this question for Knicks fans. If you're not blaming Thibodeau, at least partially, for the minutes load on everyone, then you have to blame Leon Rose then for how he constructed the team. If you don't feel like you have a deep enough rotation or enough players that you don't have to play your guys 48 minutes at the All-Star break. I'm not talking about now. You tighten up your rotations in the playoffs. Everyone knows that. But why were these guys playing this load in February?
I mean, you're talking about, they weren't playing 48 minutes now. You're talking about Brunson averaging 35 minutes, Randall averaging 35 minutes.
They were top 5 in minutes.
Right. But they're great players playing on a team that's playing winning basketball. Guys load up a lot of minutes. LeBron's on that list. There are other great players on that list.
Okay, but EJ, here's the thing. LeBron has a hangnail and he sits out for 2 games. These guys were actually dealing with stuff going back to the All-Star game. Josh Hart's knee has been bad since last year when he was playing for Team USA camp. You know that. You know that Jalen Brunson had stuff. OG Anunoby had stuff. Hartenstein, to his credit, actually ended up getting healthy towards the end of the season. He was dealing with stuff through the year, and it felt like that was never reflected in the minutes that they were still logging. And I'm talking about mid-season stuff, like when you can actually steal and buy minutes.
Yeah,
steal rest for guys.
Here's the thing. Ask people in Chicago and Minnesota, right? Like, Thibodeau brought this to New York. I mean, that was the number one criticism of his coach, that he wins a lot of regular season games because he uses all the minutes and then wears out in the playoffs. So that definitely came with Tom Thibodeau. You can't deny that. And that's, on the surface, it seems like that's what clearly happened here, that this is a Thibodeau style. And I think he elevated a team that didn't quite have the talent after the Randall injury. Because of these minutes. He had to play these minutes. That's why they got to the second round, but this was inevitable.
Well, see, this is why I'm having trouble with the Knicks fan depression today, because do you think your team overachieved or underachieved? I can't tell with you guys, because if it was all about the bad luck of injuries and you had this deep team and you love this team, then you shouldn't be depressed today. Maybe the what if and the what could have been, I get that, but shouldn't you be looking at it like, wow, look at everything we overcome. We still got the 2 seed and we battled as much as we could, but it feels like you guys aren't feeling that way today.
I feel like you can feel a little bit of both, right? I think that I feel very, again, optimistic about the season moving forward, but the season just ended. So you're looking back at this season, you're wondering what could have been. And again, I'll push back on some of this stuff about Thibs and the injuries, because at the end of the day, it's like the saying goes, you can play more guys and you can lose more games. So at the end of the day, the Knicks...
But the home court didn't end up mattering for you in this series.
Right, but I mean, they don't beat Philly if you don't have Brunson playing all those minutes and you don't have Hart playing all those minutes. Like, they won games and they got put themselves in the position they were in because they played all those minutes. The Knicks just didn't have the bodies at a certain point in time. And again, we kind of can gloss over the fluke injuries, but they are fluke injuries. Like, you want to blame somebody, blame Jaime Jaquez for undercutting Julius Randle in a January game. You can blame Joel Embiid for playing football in a basketball game. You can blame Nick Batum for launching himself into Bogdanovich's ankle. Like, EJ, you can't separate that
totally
from
understand.
the conversation.
But here's the one thing about it, and not to get too deep into the Knicks roster, but you and I know this, Manny, you know this, and so does Perloff. Mitchell Robinson has never been a reliable player. So, yeah, that was bad, and Joel Embiid should have gotten suspended for turning his ankle, but it would have been something else. He's never been somebody, and you don't pay him a lot of money, so it's not like he's this massive investment, but he's never been someone who's healthy. You know that.
Right, but they invested in a backup center who played great. So, like, again, like, what are we talking about? Like, we understand Mitch Rob gets hurt.
He's a walking injury.
You invested in Hartenstein, and Hartenstein started, and he played great. Sometimes you just run out of bodies. That happens. Like, I just think it's very convenient to be like, I'm watching that Nuggets team, and I'm looking at the minutes that are being played by the top guys in the Nuggets, top guys on the T-Wolves, top guys on. Now, Indiana plays like 10 guys because that's how Carlisle plays, and these guys' team advancing, so maybe that's good. But look at these teams that are playing in the playoffs. All those guys are playing 40-plus minutes.
Okay, but...
like, this idea that, like, the only team that are playing guys long minutes of the Knicks is just not true.
There's only one player in the playoffs that's on the Knicks who played more than 40 minutes, and that's Josh Hart.
Well, yeah,
the playoffs, because the guys were already hurt. You're losing bodies.
And during the season, there was nobody in the top 10 that was in the Knicks in minutes played per game.
But here's the thing, right? So I get you guys are in your feelings about this, but I just would ask you this: if Thibs does everything right, and this is you guys have full and utter faith in him, do you want to continue doing the same exact thing next year? You're fine. Same exact thing. No thinking about guys banged up.
But
keep throwing them out there for 35 minutes. Are you okay with Thibs coaching this way from here to eternity?
Wait, can I just answer before they do?
In terms of minutes, yes.
So I'm a Sixers fan. I'm so confident that it will not work next year because I saw it in Chicago, saw it on steroids in Minnesota. He destroyed that team. He single-handedly just played everybody for the entire game. There's no way he will not wear out his team next year. So I don't think the Sixers are going anywhere in the playoffs, but the Knicks ain't winning the finals.
But why
Not
do we
with
think
Thibs.
that the Knicks are going to wear out their players next year when they come back healthy and they have more guys?
Because Thibs will wear out the new guys, too, because he's done that at every single stop, and he definitely did it this year. I mean, he could have rested Brunson and DiVincenzo a little more during the playoffs and gotten through the Sixers. The Sixers
There's
were
no
a mess.
chance that could have happened.
Nope.
Those
Sixers were a mess.
Those games,
Batum was covering
playing 44
Brunson.
minutes in those games. Hold up. Those games, and that's another thing, too, when we talk about these minutes, because there are all these other teams that are playing blowout games in the playoffs who are playing games where their stars are out at the third quarter because they're down by 30 or they're up by 30.
That's called load management, and that's what the Nuggets
No, but
did.
now let me finish. The Knicks didn't play those kind of games against Philly. Every single one of those Philadelphia games were close.
Yes.
And in the end, up until game 4, every one of those games are close. So
I know,
where are we getting this rest?
Well, because I think that we're talking about, though, an accumulation of it. And that's why I go back to February. And that's why you go back to the All-Star game. And these are quotes that are coming out from the team. You know, you guys read them. Like, you know more about this and are following this team even closer than we are. So it all matters, I think, is the bottom line. But this would be my question. Are you guys totally cool with this? This is how Thibodeau continues to coach moving forward.
The January Knicks were 14-2. They were a deep team that were not playing guys 40 minutes because they were blowing teams out. So they had a 15 net rating in that situation. They were beating the Nuggets, beating the T-Wolves, beating the Heat, beating the Sixers, beating the brakes off these teams. So if you're telling me I'm getting the January Knicks for a full season when I don't have to play them 48 minutes because guys are hurt,
Okay,
yeah, sure.
Well, then what happened to the February Knicks? You were winning.
Randall hurt his Randall
got
hurt because
Hawkins was playing football.
I'm talking about 8 straight games leading into the All-Star break where guys were playing, and you know this, we're playing 40 minutes a game. Like, you guys can try to clown me like a January Knicks. You think I'm not paying attention.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just
don't appreciate it, first of all. And secondly, I'm coming bringing facts here with you guys. And I'm talking about February, and I'm talking about how it's building on itself. But I just ask you, would you like if you're fine with Thibodeau, and this has nothing to do with his coaching, in-game coaching, we could probably quibble about that too. But are you totally cool with him and these minutes moving forward? And Thibodeau could be the next coach for the next 10 years, and this is how it goes. Because you're going to have a gritty team, and everyone's going to, just like the 90s Knicks, and they're going to become cult heroes, but they may not win.
I think the convo starts with what happened after Bogey and Mitch go down. How do you adjust there?
And that's late. And that's against the 76ers.
Right. Well, yeah. But I'm saying, if you're talking about
Bogdanovich was a trade, so he came.
Well, no, I'm saying, I feel like the injuries that cost him this Pacers series was the ones that happened in the Pacers series, and that happens if you want to say Brunson happened because he's playing too much. If you're saying
Brunson was hurt in the Philly series. He had the foot injury, didn't he?
No, he got hurt. He got hurt in game 2 of the Pacers series. That's when he turned his foot. He couldn't go back in the game.
That's when he could go back, but he wasn't banged up at all in the Philly series. I feel like I'm remembering that wrong.
Maybe I remember it wrong. I don't know. But to me, it starts with that. So if you want to say, hey, Al Burks, who came in and played great, he should have been playing more minutes, fine. If you want to say Deuce McBride should play more minutes, fine. You want to say that Jericho Sims should have got more minutes off the bench, fine.
He's a rumor,
right? And that's fair. I feel like and you know, everybody is entitled to their opinion. I'm just saying, for someone who did follow the team, they were playing 9 deep.
Okay.
They had players who were playing well. They were blowing teams out. Like, guys got hurt.
Haven't answered the question. Do you want him to keep coaching the same way for the next 10 years? Okay.
I'm telling you, if they play, if the January Knicks again, if you give me the January Knicks next year and Tom Thibodeau's coaching them the way he was coaching them then yes, I think that they are a team that's a title contender.
Okay, with January Knicks. But
by the way, I had to look at this January. It's a lot of Wizards, a lot of West Coast teams.
Did you
coming
see
east,
how much they beat the T-Wolves by? How much did they beat the Heat by? How much did they beat the Nuggets by? How much did they beat the Sixers by?
I know, but
yeah, but I mean, this is a regular
so
season.
you don't want to talk about that.
Who's on your schedule?
What's going on?
Right, but
they have no idea what team is coming in. Like Denver probably was like on the tail end of a road trip and didn't even care.
Well, that's the thing.
But the Knicks,
regular season games, there's
they could be
context.
coming off a road trip. They could be coming off a back-to-back and win. We don't know that either.
But wait, EJ, what about the Thibodeau history? You're saying that means nothing. Like you know what happened in Chicago. You know what happened in Minnesota. This is what he does. He wears out guys in the regular season.
Look,
he's the most famous coach in recent NBA history for doing this, and it seemed to happen again. How can you say it didn't happen?
I ripped Thibodeau for this, for the Knicks. Because when they weren't playing Emmanuel Quicken, when we weren't playing other guys off the bench, when we weren't playing Deuce McBride last year, I ripped them last year. The difference is I'm watching the games. So if I'm watching the games, I'm seeing guys get hurt because people are running into them or injuring them on purpose.
Right.
Then common sense comes in and says, well, this is the situation. Tiz made a decision. Either you play your guys more to beat the Sixer team, or you play guys less and give yourself a worse chance. He took the chance to try to win. It didn't work out in the end. I think we can live with those results. But to me, it's If when you watch a team play a certain way and you see what happened, and then it's, well, he just ran guys into the ground. It's like, well, Julius Randle didn't get run into the ground. He got hurt by somebody else. Like, Mitchell Robinson got hurt by somebody else. Bogdanovich got hurt by somebody else. Like, that comes into the conversation. We could keep ignoring it, but I'm not, because I saw what happened.
855-212-4227. Tom Thibodeau, you are welcome to weigh in. Should he be getting any blame for the Knicks' loss to the Pacers? Tough one. Had a lot of celebs in the building, though. Again.
Hang the banner.
Hang the Brunson jersey in the rafters.
Hey, it's still happening. I'm still on that.
855-212-4227. No, what stinks about Brunson, well, you don't want to see a guy like that break his hand. It's awful. But we were talking about the Olympic team. They would have found a way, I think, to get him on the team. But with a broken hand,
yeah, he's got
you can't do that.
It's probably for the best to rest because he's got a big minute load coming up next year.
Maybe having his dad as a coach on the team kind of helps. Maybe Tom Thibodeau can't go full off-season Thibodeau. You guys read that stories about Joakim Noah and what Thibodeau did to him in the offseason in Chicago and just how he couldn't, hang. And Noah says they have a great relationship, so it's not that. But maybe having Rick Brunson there provides a little bit of a buffer. Like, hey, I'm not going to let you just go off-season ham on my son. I don't know. 855-212-4227. Coming up, okay, lots more to do. We have football for you on today's show as well. We would not forget that. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Roasting Tom Brady, we took it too far. But Maggie don't care, she's a superstar. Said the kids need to learn to laugh at the pain, so we'll keep on joking. No need to explain.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
They've crossed the line, but who's to say? Maggie's teaching her children to handle it her way. Making light of the struggles, finding joy through the tears. With a sense of humor, they'll conquer bogus ways. He's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes. But BOGUSCH stuck at home, his heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembyama, Perloff took the fall, but it's BOGUSCH left behind, feeling 10 feet tall, a loser in his own right. Can't catch a break, road trip dream shattered. For goodness sake, for goodness sake, BOGUSCH cruising highways, hilarity atop, San Antonio shining. The city's calling their names, the BOGUSCH sitting home. Andrew BOGUSCH, lost in the fog of golf. BOGUSCH can't see his way. People hide his voice in his ears every day. Tom Brady's glory, it's all too much. Andrew BOGUSCH needs a break. BOGUSCH has had enough of Pete. Freedom from Bilotti, that's what BOGUSCH needs. Pete Bilotti won't leave alone. His voice keeps ringing in his headphones like a drone. Oh, get out of BOGUSCH's head. Pete
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. The offseason has started for many teams, including the New York Knicks. It's interesting. We'll get into it later, but we were talking about a LeBron team being in Dallas. Now Dallas doesn't need LeBron. All of a sudden,
right.
Like the whole offseason, we have to wait to see what happens with these Final Four teams. It's really interesting. Got a big text thread debate last night. Who's the next power in the East? Because the Knicks, EJ still has faith, and Manny has faith in the Knicks. The Sixers now have an opportunity because they have all this money. But meanwhile, Boston just sits there. They have no excuse not to win it this year because they should knock out the Pacers early and then have a rest advantage over the Mavs and the T-Wolves who are going to murder each other in the West.
Okay, well, let's not forget about Giannis. With the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis and Dame, and
that feels like you can forget about it. It doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Look at their coach.
We're talking about health. I know Doc Rivers is not inspiring a lot of confidence. I get it, but
I don't look at Milwaukee. That's funny you mentioned them. It feels like that has passed.
Oh, maybe
that window's done.
The Pacers are actually in the Eastern Conference Final, so we have to give them some credit. And then, are you sure? You never know what Miami has up their sleeve.
I like Orlando. Actually, watch out for
Orlando
them.
Is an
Orlando coming up. It does feel, but it feels like Boston is just sitting there. They're the established team. They really. All these teams we're talking about are sort of works in progress, including the Knicks. I think that's fair to say that they're still figuring it. Yep. They just figured out they have the superstar in Jalen Brunson. How do you build around him? So it does feel like Boston's just, it's amazing. The West is just loaded with all these young, talented players, and Boston is the only fully built team in the East. I mean, I don't think anyone's giving this. I'll just say it. I don't think anyone's really going to pick the Pacers. Well, it would be a huge upset.
It'd be a massive upset. The Pacers are a 6 seed, but let's also, Boston feels the pressure. Especially at home. They're not a great home team in the playoffs.
They've lost 2 playoff games in 2 rounds.
I know, but overall with Jason Tatum, it's 14-14 in postseason games. So, you want to go small sample size for smaller sample size. But, if something happens and the Pacers, who are definitely have a house money situation, do they apply some pressure to the Boston Celtics?
If they do, then Boston, I don't know what you do. You tear it up. Because if they can't get out of this Eastern Conference, then it's never happening for them.
What if they go to the finals and lose again, the Celtics? Then what do you do?
Now that Jokic is out, that's tough. That's also really, really bad because they're going to be favored over either team. I personally think the Mavs are going to win, and I think Luka and Kyrie would be tough. The Boston versus Kyrie war would be fun, but they really don't have any excuses. Even if Porzingis isn't out there, I still think that they are the team. Because it's basically the core of the team that lost to the Warriors, and they're older. I just see them being a huge disappointment.
Well, it's the same 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
Tatum and Brown, but Marcus Smart is gone. I guess he was the other part of the core.
Yeah. Yeah, but they added Drew Holiday, who's even better.
That's true. Al Horford's still there, your guy.
Yeah, I know. He's playing the same exact game as he had 5 years ago.
As long as a corner three continues to be a thing, Al Horford will play in the NBA.
It is kind of scary how much they count on Al Horford, though.
Well, that's what Porzingis out. 855-212-4227. Sean's in Oregon. Hey, Sean. Good morning.
Hey, you guys. The Knicks are who we thought they were, and that kind of play it's you're not going to get away with that for too long.
Yeah, I mean, some was the usage and some was the fluke injuries. We have to acknowledge that it wasn't all just usage stuff.
It isn't if you're going to get hurt. It's when you're going to get hurt when you're playing that many minutes. That's when you get hurt, when you get tired. It's just unsustainable. That's unsustainable play, and they're a couple pieces away. And you should put your money on the T-Wolves. There ain't no way the number one defense is losing.
Sean,
that's what wins games.
That's an interesting point, and thanks for making it. Because Perloff, you came in this morning. We were unpacking what happened with the Timberwolves and the Nuggets in Game 7, and how did the Nuggets blow this 20-point lead. But you said from Jump Street, Mavericks are winning the series against the Timberwolves. Why are you so confident in that?
Well, I said I'm betting the Mavericks.
Okay.
Because I don't think the officials are going to let them play physical basketball against the Mavs. I think Kyrie and Luka start complaining from Game 1 and get all the close calls. And my example was, if there's a loose ball and Jaden McDaniels and Kyrie Irving are going for it, who do you think is getting the whistle?
They don't call anything, though.
Well, last night, at the end, they started calling everything on the T-Wolves.
Yes.
Gobert got 3 fouls and 2 possessions out of nowhere. And Cat
Jokic started getting some calls at the
end. And Cat, they like to call, the way Cat moves, they like to call a lot of fouls on him. I think Minnesota's the number one defense, and they played very aggressively in this postseason defensively. I don't think the officials are going to let them do that against the Mavs. I'll bet you foul trouble and foul shots is going to carry Dallas.
That's interesting because it's worked for them so far.
Yeah,
they're here
right.
in the Western Conference Final, and they've been playing this physical style. I also just think the league is not calling the cheap fouls that the guards are trying to bait guys into anymore.
Yeah, but then again, star power is a big deal. I think it's just natural inclination. If you're an official and you see Luka drive, you're going to blow the whistle. You're right. They've swallowed the whistle so far this postseason. I don't think that lasts. I think Minnesota is all over guys. They are. And I also, you're going to get Gobert at the free throw line. He hit his shots last night. Is that going to last? I just think there are a lot of little advantages Dallas has. Dallas actually has the front court now out of nowhere. I don't know where they got these guys.
PJ Washington and
the fact that Lively is this automatic star is so bizarre. I think they match up great here. I know the odds are very close as well. I think it's what is it, minus 100? It's a plus 100 for Dallas, minus 175 for Minnesota. This is close to a pick 'em. Do you have a lean either way?
Well, it's funny if you're talking about stars and who gets calls. I think Anthony Edwards is
his game
just as big a star now as Luka, right?
Definitely, but does Anthony Edwards' game engender a lot of calls? Luka gets a lot more physical contact. Every time Luka drives, there's 4 collisions.
I guess so. Edwards is a lot more, obviously, athletic, plays way more above the rim.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
He didn't go line much at all last night.
Edwards?
Yeah.
No, and that's the amazing thing, and I think where he deserves a ton of credit. Not a lot was working for him last night, but you can always control your effort, and you can always control your effort defensively, and that's where he showed up.
Yes, but if they, again, it depends how they call him. If they let, I'm very curious to see. I'm all of a sudden, I'm big on complaining about the officials on Twitter, because that Knicks-Pacers series, come on. How many times do I have to send?
Who do you think it favored?
Oh, it definitely favored the Knicks. I had to send videos to Adam Silver every
you and Rick Carlisle?
They said 49 plays, DJ. 49 plays to the league office. There was a play where Aaron Nesmith came in and elbowed Brunson on offense. I'm like, and they called it. Brunson uses his elbow. It's just such a part of it. Anyway, whatever.
So you ignored him
definitely
just
think the officials
through Brunson and all that just got ignored when he ran through Brunson and Brunson took the charge.
I don't know. Ask Shannon Sharp. The officials, there were a lot of weird calls.
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp is
the authority of NBA officiating. Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp and me on Twitter are just consistently killing the officials. It's hard. There's this new style.
Until Magic Johnson says it, I'm not going to believe it.
There you go.
In the NBA, you have to admit, there's a new style of officiating, right? Like they let all
we
the stuff.
talked about it.
Yeah, and I don't know that they figured it out yet, right?
They definitely haven't.
Right.
But here's another thing. I'm expecting a home team on a Game 7 to get a couple calls. Right. I mean, that's just on the history of the NBA. I didn't notice anything really egregious. I'm trying to think back.
Oh, yeah. Last
their
night.
bodies on the floor, but that's just been happening.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But it did feel, I mean, listen, we saw the Rick Carlisle small market team. The Knicks are a very physical team, and I think the officials had trouble figuring it out.
Yeah.
T-Wolves is the same thing. They're very, very physical. So if they start blowing a lot of whistles, get some foul trouble, it's going to be tough.
855-212-4227. Andrew Bogusch is here. He's got headlines. Hello.
Hello again, Maggie and Perloff. 2 Game 7s in the NBA yesterday. Neither home team won. The Knicks losing to the Pacers at the Garden. We saw that coming, but no one had the Nuggets blowing a 20-point third quarter lead on the T-Wolves.
Conley feeds it to Nas. Down the lane. Extra pass to the corner. He accepts himself. Fires the three. He hits it! It's 92-82. The Wolves lead by 10 with 3:05 left to play.
That's Alan Horton on T-Wolves radio. Anthony Edwards made only 6 shots last night in Denver, but that one helped salt away a 98-90 clincher. The rally's so intense that Minnesota head coach Chris Finch stood on his one good leg to coach the final minutes.
Special moment, man. This is a hell of a team with the best player on the planet. And this series was wild, and this game was just a microcosm of the entire series. Teams getting a big handle on each other and just, trying to fight through it.
It is the second Western Conference final in team history after the largest Game 7 comeback in NBA history, and Denver losing assures us of a 6th champion in 6 seasons.
Can I ask a trivia question for everybody? So the last time the Timberwolves were in the Western Conference Finals, 2003-2004 season. Besides Kevin Garnett, the obvious one.
Okay.
Who else can you name on this roster without looking it up?
So wait,
I got you.
Wait, before I know EJ, I'll bet you know this, but was Marvin not there? Is that what?
He was not there.
By definition. Okay.
He was gone. This is an interesting collection of dudes on this team.
So thank
2004 T-Wolves.
Thank goodness this team is on NBA 2K. So you have Sam Cassell.
Sam Cassell is in his 10th season.
You have Troy Hudson.
Yes, he was also.
You have Latrell Sprewell. He was starting.
Remember I Got to Feed My Family.
Yes, that was the end of his career in Minnesota. You had Wally Zerbiak. Shout out to him, MSG Network.
Yep.
Fred Hoiberg was on that team.
Yep.
Gary Trent was on that team, senior.
Yep.
You had Trenton Hassel was on that team. He was a great defender for them.
Austin P.
This is all made up.
None of this actually happened. Know this.
None of this actually happened.
Rasho Nesterovich, was he still there?
Rasho Nesterovich?
I'm sorry, Rasho Nesterovich was gone.
Yeah, they got rid of him.
That was a great Stephen A. name, by the way.
Yeah, he hated him.
Slavo Medvedenko.
That's like Stephen A. Version 1.
Yeah, right. The 1.0 version.
He used to love the multi-syllable European guys. He used to always emphasize their names like crazy, especially Rasho and Slavo. Anyway.
Yeah, that's probably. Oh, Joe Smith was on that team.
No.
His name wasn't Slavo.
Because that was the whole issue with the
Slavo Medvedenko.
All right. That's all I got.
I mean, impressive for sure.
Wait, sorry, Slavo is more of a first name than Slavo?
Slava
Medvedenko.
Slava.
That's Slavo.
Sorry. Wait, you know any other Slavas?
Yeah, half the NHL. Slava
It's
Batista.
like Steve.
Yeah.
Probably half of the Russian government, too.
There's Steve, I think.
You see the Russian parliament? It's probably half of them probably Slavas.
A lot of, and all the not Slavas are all the Vlads. So a couple more. Mark Madsen was on this team.
I should remember them.
So to have Fred Hoiberg, Mark Madsen, and Wally Zerbiak all on one
I see where
team.
you're going with
It's
this.
an interesting collection of white people.
But not Gugliotta, right? He's gone at this point?
Googs is in the booth.
Okay.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Who is Troy Hudson? That is one.
Backup point
wasn't
guard?
that the actor in The Simpsons they'd always go?
Troy McClure.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's Ernie Hudson, the actor, right?
Yeah.
Then there's Lou Hudson, the 1970s Atlanta Hawks star.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Ololokandi was on this team.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
That's out of that.
I don't know if he made it all the way to the playoffs. He might have been.
I feel like they might have got rid of him by the playoffs.
Might have been a trade deadline.
That team got to the Western Conference Finals. Wow.
Yeah.
Sam Cassell was playing great, to be fair.
Cassell was great. Sam Cassell in year 10, Latrell Sprewell in year 11, and that was the last time that the Minnesota Timberwolves made the Western Conference Finals. Back to you, Bogusch.
Where was I? Oh, the Pacers shooting a postseason record 67% in a 130-109 knockout of the Knicks. It's their first Eastern Conference final since 2014. We have a Game 7 on ice tonight as the Oilers and Canucks decide who plays the Stars in the Western Conference Final. Sweet little Bryson DeChambeau was on the range trying to stay loose for a playoff of the PGA Championship late yesterday afternoon. There was a big screen right in front of him so he could watch Xander Schauffele birdie 18 to deny that playoff.
Definitely disappointing, but one that gives me a lot of momentum for the rest of the majors. And, I said today it was closing time, but it'll be closing time hopefully over the next couple majors.
DeChambeau. Is that a semisonic reference? From our one-hit wonder bracket. Made it to the Sweet 16 closing time, I think. Our version.
Yeah, didn't come as close to winning as he did.
No.
Yesterday,
no.
As the runner-up.
No, Take On Me was a force.
Wait,
it was the Xander Schauffele.
So something weird happened. I got into this a little bit on social. Jim Nantz, when Xander Schauffele and Victor Hovland came out there, he said something weird. It's I think he said women are following this because that is an attractive pairing. Maggie, do you agree? Bryson DeChambeau and Victor Hovland.
I can't think of what Victor Hovland looks like off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Let me look him up.
But you were commenting Bryson DeChambeau has lost weight and looks really good.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely trimmed down.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought that was an odd comment by Nant.
I didn't hear that, but I was thinking of you a lot this weekend because the whole final day leaderboard was all young, fit guys, completely spitting in the face of you can be fat and sloppy and win majors. I like the tight ass.
Yes, and Perloff also comparing Tiger Woods trying to get up and down a golf course to a 75-year-old retiree. Slightly different.
Wait, who
in terms of the stakes?
Xander Schauffele weighs 125 pounds.
But he's
tiny.
He's not. He might be tiny, but he's one big muscle. I like a tight ass. Yeah, especially on a golfer.
I'm gonna push back on that. I agree with Pearl. He's thin,
but he's not out of shape.
Well, Ann Ligori told us that there's a lot. Oh, Shane Lowry. No, he is definitely out of shape.
Shane Lowry's out of shape,
and he was balling this week.
Where did he finish?
He didn't
win.
Tied the record for the best round.
Yeah, he was one of the last 10 guys, and they all were in shape, not him.
Let's see where did Shane Lowry finish? Shane Lowry
is your patron saint of this argument, but there's only one Shane Lowry. There's a lot of
John Daly's really the patron saint of this argument.
Yeah, I mean, also a lot of these guys are tiny, like Colin Morikawa.
Right, but they're in shape. Your point was you needed to be in shape to play. Those guys are in shape. They're not. No one said they were tight ends.
Fine, whatever.
Well, different tight ends.
Shane Lowry, by the way.
Ass. Yeah. Shane Lowry
might want Guinness around the 12th hole. That dude is not in shape.
He's having a hoagie.
Are there still guys who are smoking cigarettes on the course? That's got to be.
Do they do that anymore?
You got to hide it. I don't think you're allowed to. I think you got to sneak into the woods or something, or a bathroom break. I don't think you can openly.
Just rip heaters.
I don't think so.
Bones, whatever you call it.
I am very interested. Do those guys go on bathroom breaks?
Yeah.
Yes.
The TV just doesn't show them walk away. The other thing, you're not allowed to use your phone. Are you allowed to use your phone during the round?
No, but I didn't know you could use those rangefinder things that these guys had out all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They were picking out the little binocular things. I didn't know you could use those.
I thought that's seems like cheating.
I thought that was a regular person golfing tool, not a pro. But I thought Nance said you could use it this weekend. So maybe the PGA of America has a different setup on those things.
Maybe because of the Scheffler arrest, they're screw it, do it.
I was maybe the cops basically
Prison
were
rules.
we need to pull America back into this thing.
So Schauffele wins by one, first time at a major since 2005 that a major ends with a tie-breaking birdie putt on the final hole. Nelly Korda, meanwhile, won her 6th LPGA event in 7 starts this year in Jersey City. Jim Otto, whom the Raiders called the original Raider, has passed away at 86. Otto might be the greatest center of all time, making 12 Pro Bowls, being picked first-team All-Pro 10 times. He did not miss a game in his 15-year career. Sunday Night Baseball in Atlanta last night. The Padres a 9-1 win behind 7 scoreless from Yu Darvish. She joins Hiroki Kuroda and Hideo Nomo as the only Japanese pitchers to win 200 games between their home country and the majors. Man City won an unprecedented 4th consecutive Premier League title yesterday with a 3-1 decision over West Ham on the final day of the season. That kept them 2 points clear of Arsenal. Joey Logano won the NASCAR All-Star race last night. And with the Summer Games in Paris coming up, Michael Phelps is top of mind. The legendary swimmer continues to talk openly about his mental health battle, which goes all the way back to the 2004 games. He was on Meet the Press, got emotional talking about his mental health buddy. That was his term, in Jay Glazer. It's an interesting tag team. tackling a very, very important issue.
Yeah, Glazer's been very open about this too, right?
Yeah.
I think Glazer, Michael Phelps, I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of pressure that was on Phelps doing all those Olympic cycles, you know? Like, you're touted as the next thing, and people really are only paying attention every 4 years unless you're super into swimming. How any of these Olympic athletes perform is crazy to me. I know. Perloff again.
I don't know. You jump in the pool and you swim. What's the big deal here?
I know.
I mean, it's 50 yards. Just go. You're the fastest swimmer. Of course you're going to win every gold medal. You're faster than the other dudes.
This is Perloff. This is where this opinion, I feel like, doesn't hold up. Because you'll talk about how the, no pun intended, the pool of candidates who swim competitively is so small. But everyone in the world mostly swims. Like, there's no barrier to entry. Yeah, someone has to teach you how to swim.
Huge barrier to entry. Because yes, there's a difference between swimming in a pool and being Michael Phelps. Like, competitive swimming is a totally different thing.
No, I get it, but that's the same issues that hockey parents have and travel baseball and all these things that get really expensive once you start going up and up and up. Everyone, either you swim or you don't swim. The world, like humans, everyone can swim. Not everyone is 6'5" or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but I think you're wrong, though, because the kind of swimming they're doing, not everyone's exposed to. Did anyone here competitively swim at any point of their...
I did, actually.
I can't swim, so no.
We should get on that.
Yeah, I know.
No, I did not. I know how to swim, but never...
Right, I don't know.
But like
Bogus, are you competitive swim?
I mean, I was on a team that had races for a little bit, yeah.
But you know how, like, track and field?
Yeah, right. Track and field's a lot easier.
Lowest barrier to entry.
Soccer and track and field, everybody plays.
Swimming should be the same thing.
No.
Running and swimming, people have access to these
You got to have pools, though. And pools are expensive.
No. Also, too, that kind of training is so specialized. It's nothing like... You could tell when somebody can sprint really fast. Like, how would you know somebody can compete with Michael Phelps? Like, because it's all form and training and...
Wait, so is your argument that there's a lot of Michael Phelps that just didn't...
No, I'm saying
like a pool, so he just happened.
No, he's saying that Michael Phelps is so good because his competition was so narrow that he was just the best of a very small group of people.
Well, I'm just saying swimming is not like soccer. Like, of the 300 million people in America, how many people have access to competitive swimming compared to, like, everybody plays basketball, soccer, and football or whatever.
Right. But I mean,
it's a little different.
It's a little different, but I still think at some point, like, if you don't have money to be on a good team or whatever, you're not going to make it off the playground or off the soccer field. Like, at some point, you still need somebody to, like, pay for you to be found by people who are so, like,
yeah.
So whether I don't know that your argument is, like, mathematically correct, that there's fewer swimmers out there that there are guys who would have prevented Michael Phelps from winning all these medals, but they just didn't jump in a pool at one point.
Well, there's a couple things here. First of all, I think Michael Phelps won so many gold medals because of the way the events are divided. Like, he's basically winning multiple gold medals for doing the same darn thing. Just, you know.
You had a lot of reasons to pull down Michael Phelps.
Well, I mean, like,
is it different distances, though?
Well,
different strokes?
I mean, like, Mark Spitz won 7 gold medals in the same thing. Like, Usain Bolt didn't have access to 7 gold medals. There weren't 7 events that he could win.
But back in the day, someone like a Carl Lewis would do multiple events.
There are not a lot of Carl Lewises, but okay.
Right, but I'm saying, though, like, there was a time way back in the day where track and field people did do more than just sprint. People became more specialized now, and maybe that's where swimming will be in 30, 40 years. I mean, I think we would argue that before Phelps, that's how it was. Phelps and the other guy are the only two that did this. So it's not like we have, the same people that win the freestyle always win the breaststroke. Like, that hasn't been the case necessarily.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though. If you're a young athlete, you're not going to go to swimming. You want to go where the money is, into one of the bigger sports. So they're not going to.
Sure.
They're clearly not going to pull the best athletes in America. Why would you be? What's the incentive? And
to be Michael Phelps, I guess, if you wanted to be.
Yeah, but you'd much rather be.
Yeah, I'd rather be Jordan, but I also am not sitting here saying that Michael Phelps was lucky to be a swimmer, not a basketball player.
Yeah, because he probably wasn't a good enough athlete to be a basketball player.
Oh. Perloff, 855-212-4227. The irony, Perloff's daughter swims.
I watch it. The whole thing is a system.
No, you're scarred because of all the swim meets you have to drive to every weekend. Coming up, we have some NFL news for you. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Bogusch, lost in the fog of golf. Bogusch can't see his way. Otis Miller, Tampa Bay. Glorious flight. He signed the check to Minny, where it's at. Infinity Sports Radio, playing all morning. Dancing to the beat, feeling so right. The takes are loud, his speakers blast. He's a Twitch viewer, having a blast. The ball of his spin and the crowd's going wild. Glorious man, just feeling so alive. Radio play. Can't hear the beat, it plays from afar. Glorious man, feeling the Infinity Sports. Glorious flight. He signed the check to Minny, where it's at. Driving to San Antonio, tacos on his mind. With Remy, he'll apologize. It's the great America trip down the open road. Windows down, feeling freedom, letting go. Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog of Bogusch can't see his way. People at his voice in his ears every day. Tom Brady's glory, it's all too much. Andrew Bogusch needs a break. Bogusch has had enough. Simple melodies, that's what Bogusch needs.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Get back to basketball in just a moment. You had a pair of Game 7s yesterday with the road team winning both of them, which is very unique. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So a quick departure to get some football because this story is interesting. The Jaguars, Perloff, committed to making Trevor Lawrence the next $50 million a year quarterback. And, I mean, listen, Lawrence has all the pedigree. He was their number one overall pick. It's not surprising that they would want to get a deal done. But the question has been, has Lawrence actually delivered on the great promise that he came into the league being touted as the next Andrew Luck?
Oh, well, I mean, Andrew Luck, what did Andrew Luck do? But I understand what you're saying. Like
generational was the term.
Right. But Luck in a way was disappointing because he was always hurt. Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence has been totally fine. The team around him is definitely dicey. I really love what they did 2 years ago. To come back and win that Chargers game was a statement. Last year, like, they were coming apart at the seams. I don't love the roster around Lawrence, but guys, how old is he? 24? He's going to have a big window here, even with the big contract. Yes, they're probably not going to take advantage of the rookie contract, but eventually they're going to figure it out, and he's going to be deep in the playoffs. I'm pretty confident in that.
See, I don't know if you can say, like, did they waste the rookie contract? They've wasted it because this is going to kick in like 2 years. But if you are talking about the extension is, But if you're talking about the AFC South, what are we talking about? C.J. Stroud. Even we're talking about Anthony Richardson. I don't know if there's people who think that the Titans could be a sneaky team. Nobody is talking about the Jags. And if you have a $50 million quarterback in that division, don't you think that you should be one of the favorites?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're probably going to be like an 8-9 team this year. They'll be in the mix.
Again, like what are we paying for with some of these contracts? Because if, first of all, you sign this big deal and it's going to make it now your team building gets even tougher. So if you didn't believe in Trent Baalke as a general manager, there's no doubt his job just gets so much harder as soon as you pay the quarterback. I'm not saying he has a choice. I'm just saying what the reality is.
Yeah.
This is going to be very difficult. And
I'd like to get rid of that guy.
The general manager?
Yeah, I mean, the Trayvon Walker pick was so bad with Aiden Hutchinson just sitting there. Honestly, I think a lot of GMs get fired for that. But ironically, Trevor Lawrence will probably keep him employed by keeping the team around 500. Because here's the thing with Trevor Lawrence. Whether he's worth $50 million or not, $50 million, you think, oh, you get, say, a conference title game. He's going to at least keep you treading water. Like, you're going to win some games because Trevor Lawrence is going to get hot. The guy's a really good quarterback.
Yeah, he is a really good quarterback. I think that's funny, though, because he's a really good quarterback when that's not how we were talking about Trevor Lawrence when he was coming into the league. Like, maybe it's that first season with Urban Meyer or I don't know what, but it feels like the expectations for him have completely changed when we're talking. Trevor Lawrence was like the prize. You had multiple teams tanking for him openly. I mean, trying to tank.
I think all those teams that were tanking would kill to have him right now.
They would, but again, do you think that he's actually delivered on this promise yet?
I think that's a complicated question because the team around him is struggling. Also, he was hurt last year. I don't know. There was a lot going on in Jacksonville last year. I don't blame Lawrence personally. Yeah, I mean, his numbers are pretty darn good. He's 24 years old and has already had 2 4,000-yard seasons. That's Andrew Luckish for sure.
I get it, but don't you think it would be bad for Lawrence if C.J. Stroud immediately comes in and starts to, I don't know if they're going to dominate the division, but if C.J. Stroud comes in and dominates the division, that's going to not be a great reflection on Lawrence.
Yeah, but the Texans are built like the Niners. Like, they're going to be an all-around amazing team. They're going to have the sick defense this year. They have a lot of Pro Bowlers on defense. I don't. But
that should have been the Jags. Like, when you aren't paying a quarterback, that's your window to get to build up and beef up other parts of the roster.
Right, but you screwed up one year with Urban Meyer. I understand what you're saying, but the Texans just have a better coach. They have a better system. They have a better offensive coordinator.
Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with your Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, the Texans got DeMeco Ryans and Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Like, they're kind of looking real. Actually, Aaron Glenn did somewhere else. He's in Detroit. But they have everything working right now. What do the Jags have working besides Trevor? What's there?
Well, again, Super Bowl winning head coach. He has a
Doug
receiving
Peterson,
core.
Come on.
Multiple first-round picks. The other
right?
Josh Allen. 855-212-4227 coming up. Scottie Scheffler, what a weekend.
Sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Dalton, I'm Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Got his fingers moving, stepping non-stop. Dropping all the knowledge, never gonna flop. Dalton, I'm Brian, he's the king of the chat. With his love for the show, there ain't no doubt. Every episode, he's always in the mix. Leaving comments for the host, he's got the tricks. Dalton, I'm Brian, he's a YouTube star. With his quick comments, he'll take it far. I've been sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the room. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Dalton, I'm Brian. He's the #1 watching Maggie Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Delta, not Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Got his fingers moving, stepping non-stop, dropping all the knowledge, never gonna flop. Talking about Brian, he's the king of the chat. With his love for the show, there ain't no doubt. Every episode, he's always in the mix, leaving comments for the host, he's got the tricks. Talking about Brian, he's a YouTube star. With his quick comments, he'll take it far. I've been sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Delta, not Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Every
Minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds.
Oh, he's got no time
Break
to lose.
ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff, Daly's keeping score. YouTube's his love. He's begging for more. Double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie snappy, Perloff's got a glow.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Sander with victory at Valhalla.
Jim Nance on CBS. It was very exciting at the end of the PGA Championship. Perloff Xander Schauffele from San Diego wins his first ever major championship. So a little exhale, but that really wasn't the story of the tournament. If you're asking us, like, in what order would you say these things happened or mattered at the PGA? Yes, Schauffele for sure. To the victor goes the spoils. But this was all about Scottie Scheffler and the crazy story from Friday where he gets arrested for a traffic incident hours before teeing off.
Amazing. Everyone in this room except you thought there's no way he golfs, and then he got out there and golfed and was incredible on Friday. Bizarre, the level of focus that he had shocked me. I'm not gonna say it's hard to credit him because he did get arrested, but it is just wild that a guy was not distracted and was had his head together enough to shoot that well. And trust me, like in my best days, I would panic on a golf course. The fact that he was really just laser focused is an incredible sporting achievement to me.
I mean, mugshot in the jumpsuit. It was a bizarre morning. So here's Scheffler, and this was on Friday when he was asked about what happened and him being arrested and in the jail cell before the round. And he talks about stretching and having to start his warm-ups from jail.
I did spend some time stretching in a jail cell. That was a first for me. That was part of my warm-up. I was just sitting there waiting, and, I started going through my warm-up. I felt like there was a chance I may be able to still come out here and play, and so I started going through my routine. I tried to get my heart rate down as much as I could today, but like I said, I still feel like my head's spinning a little bit.
You need some prison wine to get that heart rate down. I don't know how your heart would be in your throat. So that was from Friday. Here is Scheffler talking yesterday. He finished the tournament tied for 8th. He was 13 under. Let's hear it.
On the golf course, I've always been proud of my toughness out there. I think I love competing. I love, trying to get the most out of my game out here. And, I typically try to keep the off-course life as quiet as possible. And, this week obviously was not that way. And so it was a bit different in that sense. But, I'm proud of how Tate and I went around this week and competed and, was able to post a decent finish towards the end of the week, kind of running on fumes.
Yeah, I would imagine. Now, from what I can tell, the arraignment might be Tuesday, so he could be sticking around a little bit, and that was the latest that I saw. And then he said he is planning to play, I believe it's a Colonial this upcoming week. This is just like business as usual for Scheffler.
You know what the funny thing is? I think this to some degree. So he screwed up Saturday. He 41 rounds in a row, he'd been par or better.
Yep.
And on Saturday, when everybody was going hog wild on this course, he was 3 over. His caddy was off at his daughter's high school graduation. He had a backup caddy. Maybe that's his superpower. Forget the prison stuff. Forget all that. Missed his caddy for a day, and he probably, if he had, if it had a good round, he definitely would have been in right there at the end, because he was minus 13 for the tournament. And that was an unusual Saturday for him.
So if you gave Scottie Scheffler truth serum and said, what impacted you more? Was it getting arrested hours before your round on Friday, or was it the fact your caddy had his daughter's high school graduation? You think in a private moment he tells you the caddy.
So weak of that caddy. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? Actually, Scheffler said he had so much adrenaline in his system on Friday that he was kind of riding high on that. And I wonder if things hit him on Saturday.
That's what he said, that he couldn't. He was really fatigued on Saturday. It was a little bit of a delayed reaction, and then he couldn't get his normal routine in. Hey, back down to the county jail. No,
I did tell you the first few rounds I watched. For some reason, I watched Scheffler on Saturday. He looked really out of sorts the first few holes. Like he didn't know, his strategies were all off. That's what the announcers kept saying. Like he doesn't know how to attack this hole, and that's not Scottie Scheffler. I feel like. Not that I understand it, but Scheffler seems to have a plan on every hole, and he certainly did not on Saturday.
So, I mean, it's an interesting point, right, about how he didn't play well by his standards, and yet he was still basically in contention, definitely going into Saturday. And then you mentioned he shot the 2 over. But is this I don't want to say this was all a self-inflicted kind of obstacle, but he's been the hottest golfer. He's just coming off of the Masters win. He's clearly the world's number 1. We're talking about legacy stuff. We're talking about all-time great. And it's not because he had a back issue or a knee issue. It was because of this traffic incident that started with a tragedy of a pedestrian being struck and killed, but then created all this traffic, and he tried to circumvent it. And one thing led to another, this crazy misunderstanding, according to him, that led him in a jail cell. Could all of this just been avoided? And maybe we're talking about Scottie Scheffler winning another major, and then we're talking about him even more as, an heir apparent to Tiger Woods, or the preeminent golfer of our time.
Absolutely. We have to see the video. There is video, I guess, from across the street of what happened. Of course, the police officer was not wearing a body cam.
Was he wearing it, or was there a coat over it?
Was it? They have no footage.
They have no footage, right?
Of course.
Right.
So before we weigh in on what happened, I think we need to see more evidence. And as I famously say for my stint on jury duty, there's video of everything.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hesitant to say anything about who's at fault here. That being said, I do think it was chaos. I've been in those. You've been in traffic accidents. I was at one time I was at the BQE, the Brooklyn Queens Expressway, and they had one lane for about 75 lanes of traffic. And it's chaos. The cops are telling you things, but the cops are all on different pages.
Yep.
It's really hard. It was raining out. I'm inclined to give Scottie a pass. But you know what? If he dragged a cop along, then he doesn't get a pass.
No, I mean, and it's like a self-inflicted thing if he. And again, you're right. We don't know. Now, he's taken a lot of responsibility for this. Scheffler has definitely said, listen, I didn't understand the directive. I didn't understand what he was trying to say, but he's not blaming the police at all. You know, he's definitely, as they take a high road, I guess. No pun intended.
Praised the police all day long.
Yeah.
He said they did a great job.
He's not blaming the police. And so for that, it's like, it does feel a little bit like a self-inflicted kind of thing.
I tend to believe it was an accident. So I'm not going to call it self-inflicted. But then again, we'll see. If the video footage shows him wantonly disregarding this cop and, God forbid, dragging him along on the car, then I'll think differently. You know, it's interesting.
Because if his weekend's just totally, quote-unquote, normal, he's probably winning this tournament. Maybe.
I mean, Scheffler did have minus 21. That's one of the greatest major rounds of all time. But certainly that would have been a hard number. He would have been in that mix. And it's hard. Scheffler, I think, has so much confidence now that I wonder if he would have intimidated Schauffele. You know, it's interesting. Scheffler got up there Friday after this all happened. He said, I can't really talk about it because of legal reasons. Then proceeded to just
talk about
every angle of it. I'm like, oh, that's refreshing. Usually guys just lawyer up. He kind of gave it all. And I wonder if that's not really going to work out for him in court-wise because he put out a lot of evidence one way or the other. Like, I think that I hope this is all resolved, and I hope it doesn't end up being worse. Certainly, I got to tell you, like the organizer of Valhalla, they have to be, upset about the way this all went down. It does feel like the tournament too was not organized. I mean, they have golfers walking to the course like a mile because of a traffic jam.
Well, because of that accident. Yeah, that was like a dire straits kind of thing. Here's a question for our Twitter at Maggie and Pearl on the socials. What will this be remembered for? Xander Schauffele winning his first major. Because in golf, that's really big. You have the guys who are the bridesmaids and never the bride. I think he had a runner-up finish at the Masters one year. He's an American guy. I think he's got definitely got a lot of fans in this country. So is it more going to be remembered for Xander Schauffele winning or for Scottie Scheffler getting arrested?
I don't think you need to bother to put that poll.
Is that going to be 100-0?
Anybody, yeah.
Going
20 years from now. Do you remember that
tournament? Put it up like Halliburton last night, just firing.
Yeah, when Xander finally broke through. What?
855-212-4227. And maybe the other question, I don't know if this is for social media because there's a little nuance to it, but the question is Scottie Scheffler only have himself to blame for this? And again, we're going to get more details, but could this whole thing have been avoided? And maybe even if he doesn't win the tournament, are we talking about a top 5 finish? Are we talking about a top 3 finish as opposed to being tied for 8th, which is still great. It's still a top 10 finish, but nonetheless.
No, the guy's on fire. I mean, listen, there's 2 more majors. We'll see. It would be cool for golf to have a singular guy, a guy who's just better than everybody else.
Yeah, and everyone's gunning for him.
Yeah, I mean, how many guys have been trying to do that? I mean, Koepka's great. He hasn't been able to do it consistently. John Rahm hasn't been able to do it consistently.
Well, some of the guys who go to live, then all of a sudden you're off playing these other tournaments that no one can watch or we have no idea where they're happening.
But as long as you're in the majors, I'm saying it doesn't. I don't think it matters as long as you're in the majors. But none of these guys can string together these majors. Felt like Scottie maybe had a chance to do that, but he had to go and get arrested.
Hardened criminal, Scottie Scheffler. Again, 855-212-4227. And there's definitely a strong possibility that all the charges get dropped. I think that's definitely still on the table, that before we get to an arraignment and how does this impact him down the road, I could also see the charges getting dropped because I never underestimate what being rich and powerful and famous does for you.
We're going to open that can of worms.
Well, I'm just saying.
Let's be real.
It's hard not to think about it, right?
I don't know. I was on a grand jury, as I keep saying. We dropped
famous people?
80%. No, but 80% of the cases got dropped. They were like, drop. So I don't know. I feel like if there's footage, I don't know. I'm not going to say this all of a sudden rich and famous. Like, is he going to have? Yeah, he has every chance to get rid of this. But I don't want to immediately say, oh, he's getting privileged to get out of this because we don't even know what happened.
Fair. 855-212-4227. So you can go there, vote. Is that a judge?
Yes.
Yeah, gavel.
Perloff's jury. Gosh, remember when you did that for a month?
I'm a total expert. I was like, first of all, a cop walked into our grand jury and his body cam was off. That case was thrown out immediately.
Really?
I mean, this was
Well,
This is Brooklyn.
That's convenient.
this is Brooklyn. Trust me. Like well, I won't say anything more. Just say it was hard to get the level. Like pretty much, we wanted to let everyone go free. That was our.
Oh, that was your MO of your jury?
Oh yeah, it was not a pro police crowd. Let's just put it that way.
That gavel was hilarious to me.
Okay, so you can go vote. We have another poll question up there for you, which is how would you describe Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals? Did the Nuggets choke or did the T-Wolves win it? And right now, T-Wolves won it at 55% as opposed to the Nuggets choking away a 20-point lead. We'll get more into that as we move on this morning. We also have the Knicks and Pacers with, again, 2 Game 7s where the home team loses both. That was surprising just in and of itself. But it was very different kind of games. Indiana just couldn't miss. They had this all-time great offensive game, and then the Timberwolves really won it with their defense. And how they turned on their defense in the second half to send the defending champs home was remarkable. Okay, coming up, lots more to do. You're welcome to weigh in on basketball, on Scottie Scheffler. Does it feel like this was a self-imposed obstacle here, a self-inflicted wound, so to speak? 855-212-4227. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Living life in 20-second views. Scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, Daily's keeping score. YouTube's his love.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie snappy, Perloff's got a glow. Daily's hooked, he's looking for the show. Chasing trends, Daily's on a quest. Comments pouring in, he's one of the best. From every corner of the internet's reach. Daily's voice. Reach it to preach. Living life in 20-second views. Scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, Daily's keeping score. YouTube's his love. He's begging for more. Double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie snappy, Perloff's got a glow. Daily's hooked, he's looking for the show. Chasing trends, Daily's on a quest. Comments pouring in, he's one of the best. From every corner of the internet's reach. Daily's voice. Reach it to preach.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. You know, I have an idea for a new segment. How was your weekend, Maggie? Because I feel like you came in with a bunch of like sort of stories on tap.
Yeah, a couple things happened. So I don't know if this is a mom's thing or a dad's thing. So you tell me, for people out there who have kids. There is something that's very hard for me to watch my kid eat, and it's cotton candy. Like it's just so... I get it, ice cream, cookies, cake, like lollipops. And my kid would, if you had told my kid, you can either never see mommy again or have this massive lollipop, like he'd think about it. And I'm not exactly sure what side of this he'd come down on, but something about watching them eat just sugar on a stick, it's just like, it's tough to watch. Also, cotton candy is gross. It gets like all wet, like from his...
A delicacy.
Have you eaten it lately? Have you eaten it lately? Not since you were like 10.
Yeah, I probably ate it. Last time I ate it, probably like, I don't know, 3 years ago.
My kid got a pink one, and so then it gets all slobbered on, and it looks like remember the guy in 127 Hours to cut his own arm off? That's what it looks like.
Cotton candy is what you think bacon is for me.
The smell is better than the taste.
Well, no, not even the smell, but like it's overrated. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things for me where like it looks better than it tastes.
But no adult. Well, hey, man, sorry. Very few adults I know actually, indulge in cotton candy. But my kid ate the whole freaking thing.
Good on him.
Yeah. He doesn't mess around.
How long have you been working on this cotton candy bit here?
Not at all. It was so gross to me.
Cotton candy grapes are the thing now. You guys followed that trend?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like the
I did not
hottest
know
food
this.
in America right now, but they cost like $15 a bag.
Very sweet grapes.
They taste like cotton candy.
Certain varietals.
I think you're wrong. I think everybody loves cotton candy. We should put up that ball.
Do adults eat cotton candy? Can you put
You
that
don't
poll
eat
up?
it, but you, like EJ said, you remember it as great. And it's funny. I think most people are pro cotton candy.
I think even as a kid, I always was really excited to get cotton candy, and then I ate it, and I was like, that was okay.
What about when it gets a little bit of dirt on it and the kid still eats it?
I can't really eat anything. Two-Tone Tony says Maggie needs a psychiatrist. Why? Because the cotton candy thing?
Yeah, no,
But
it's
I don't
something
think
with
like any food, that's a problem.
Food textures and you are really...
Maybe.
But cotton candy grapes I tried to buy them this weekend at Wegmans. And it said $5.99, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is an incredible deal!" Then it turned out to be $5.99 per pound. It was $16 for the bag.
For grapes? That's
They're
stupid.
But they were great, weren't they? They were delicious.
I didn't buy
Another
them.
delicacy.
$16. Cotton candy grapes are like the hottest thing in the world right now. Like, you should try them. By the way,
No, I'm not going to spend $20 on
They're
grapes.
so good.
they're so good.
They're very good.
They're really.
Jeez, I didn't realize I was surrounded
you know
by
why
these
they're
grape
so good?
connoisseurs.
They're
Yes.
like all the good things about cotton candy without that messy, disgusting stuff about cotton
You
candy.
guys haven't grown out of cotton candy being a flavor that you like as you become an adult?
But this is a natural, like occurring cotton candy
Got it.
flavor. I think
Is it naturally occurring, or did they genetically modify these in a lab?
That's what I'm wondering.
that's
Do
a
not
great
care.
question.
They taste delicious.
It came out of dirt with soil.
Yeah, and they're not like encased in some sticky, glittery pink stuff. They just
Wait.
they're grapes. You buy them like, ooh, those taste even better than normal.
But don't you like that cotton candy flavor?
No.
Like cotton candy gum or whatever?
No.
Cotton candy flavor stuff, I think, tastes terrible.
Oh, yeah. Also, you're
What?
an adult. Doesn't your taste change a little
Like-
bit? Do you still Fun Dip? Like, you wouldn't eat that.
Oh,
I would just be careful, Maggie.
I would love to dip into some Fun Dip. Yeah, Fun Dip's awesome. But wait,
But you wouldn't eat it now.
I
at
think
your
cotton
age
candy
now.
is a very well-liked flavor. I think you're in a minority here.
Okay, but how many fancy restaurants would you go to, or just any restaurant? They don't have a lot of cotton candy ice cream and stuff.
Their loss.
Every time I try cotton candy
Start
ice
a letter writing
cotton candy ice
campaign.
cream is the worst. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's one of the worst flavors.
Actually, I've never even seen that. Is that a common flavor?
Yeah, my kid gets it all the
Cotton
time.
candy ice
Shocker.
cream?
Yeah,
Can't
but I'm
get it
saying,
everywhere,
if
but
cotton
you see
candy
it.
was like such a universally loved flavor, it'd be everywhere.
I think it is universally
We're
loved.
putting it in grapes now. It is everywhere.
You know,
Yeah, I think
fair.
it's quite popular.
All
Put
right.
up that poll. Do you like cotton candy?
I just can't imagine adults liking that flavor. Not to be elitist on my tastes here.
Well, I mean, do you like funnel cake?
Funnel cake
I
is
do.
1,000 times better than.
Yeah, I mean, like everything we liked as a kid, we still kind of like. You don't outgrow things like that. I mean,
I
Fun
can't
Dip.
imagine like buying Bubblicious gum at this age,
Oh,
though.
I would rock some
Manny.
Bubblicious.
Well, Manny, you are a lot younger than I am.
What's the difference?
You're in your
Bubblicious is
20s.
amazing.
Manny, by the way.
What about Big League Chew?
Big League Chew?
Big League. Do you guys have Big League
Delicious.
Chew?
Yes.
Amazing.
Now
Is
you're
it like
talking
the
my
grape
language,
flavor?
Perloff.
Big League Chew is so delicious.
The original one, not the sour apple one.
But the thing is, you would eat like the entire bag, and you'd have this gigantic wad of gum in your.
And we never even really stopped to be like, this is smokeless tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that.
Cosplay.
Yeah. But
Have
kids'
fun.
food, I generally disagree with your premise. I think all kids' food in your memory, kind of like EJ said with bacon, is like awesome. Maybe it's better in my mind.
Well, when's the last time you had Fun Dip, cotton candy, any of that stuff?
I don't really eat sugar, but if I was going to, Fun Dip would be high up on my list.
Imagine an adult sitting there dipping the stick into the just plain sugar and eating it. Oh, sorry, Bogusch.
There's a difference here. Fun Dip to me was never acceptable. I always thought that was gross. I don't think you could have it as an adult right now.
You know
The
those pixie sticks?
Yeah, no. But cotton candy, if my kid gets it at a party, which they did like 3 weeks ago at a communion party, there was a cotton candy thing. I pulled a piece off and had it.
Right. One piece.
I would never get it for myself. I would never order it, never go running and wait online for it, but I steal some from the kids. But Fun Dip's gross.
If there was an adult sitting next to me eating pixie sticks, I'd get up and move.
Oh, pixie sticks.
It's just
That's another
pouring sugar
100%
down
approval rating.
Pouring sugar down your throat.
What's wrong with that? You love sugar.
But I wouldn't consume it that way.
It's
by
like
the
a
way,
different vehicle.
Anytime I'm at a party and there's a cotton candy machine, that cotton candy machine breaks or runs out of cotton candy 80% of the time.
Oh, that's good
And the
to
kid
know.
is always complaining, but kids don't feel this way. They love cotton. Lucas
Oh
loved
my
it, right?
gosh, couldn't wait.
He could, right, exactly.
Yeah.
I
He'd live in the cotton candy if he could.
I don't understand. You love Swedish Fish. You love Sour Patch Kids, but you don't like Pixie Sticks? What's the difference? It's
Yeah.
just a sugar delivery system.
No, you're right. It is something just about the mental part of it. Because I really had to, but I had to quit cold turkey on that stuff.
I would have thought you'd love Fun Dip.
I don't think I could bring myself to do that as an adult. Anyway, sports. That happened.
Bubblicious. What's wrong with Bubblicious?
Can you imagine?
Great Bubblicious?
So you're telling me there's all the gums there. You're at an airport. And
Well,
you're about to buy a pack of gum to
I
go
would
on
probably
a
buy a
flight.
sugar-free gum, like,
Or mint flavored, probably.
yeah, like Orbits or some crap like that.
Right. You're not buying Bubblicious gum.
No, but if because it's bad for your teeth. But if it wasn't bad for your teeth, I would definitely buy Bubblicious.
Okay.
Yeah, teeth
like
schmeeth.
When you walk past your kids, whatever, after a birthday party or Halloween, there's like a blow pop or a piece of gum like that in there. Like it's like nostalgia.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the single things of gum that come like wrapped in like blue and
Oh,
yellow?
like Double Bubble?
Double bubble.
Double bubble.
yeah.
Delicious. Flavor's gone in 90 seconds, but that's a fun 90 seconds.
I know. Just like fruit stripes.
Yeah. Juju fruit, that's gone in a blink of an eye.
gum?
Yeah, bazooka, great.
Also, it turns into cement like very
That too.
fast. All of a sudden, you're chewing it like It's like all of a
That's
sudden
when you
gets
pop
very
another
hard.
one in.
Yeah. My mom would get upset when I keep chewing that. She'd be like, spit that out. it tastes like nothing now. What are you doing? Spit that out.
Doing your best Michael Jordan impersonation. Just got to keep the gum going at all times.
Yeah.
Headline, sure.
Game 7 in Denver last night turned in the third quarter. The Nuggets came out of halftime, pushed their lead to 58-38, and then the T-Wolves went on a 28-9 run, and then they won 98-90 to make the Western Conference Final for the second time in team history. The first was 20 years ago. Here's head coach Chris Finch on those important 12 minutes.
Our defense was there, and then it went to a special place in the third quarter, where we've been able to take it at times. And, just everybody just kind of, bucking up and making plays.
Anthony Edwards only scored 16 points last night, but his D on Jamal Murray, a huge part of the rally. Karl Anthony Towns had 23 points and 12 boards. helping negate the 34 points from Nikola Jokic. He and the Nuggets make 5 straight champs that have failed to get past round 2 the following spring. All of that happened after the Pacers stunned the Knicks at MSG 130-109 in their Game 7. Tyrese Halliburton says they are right where they're supposed to be.
Preseason camp in Nashville, just players, no coaches. And that was what we communicated from the jump, that we expected to be here. This ain't a surprise for us. It's no fluke. We expect this from our group. And then once we added P, we knew that we could really take off.
P is Pascal Siakam, who scored 20 yesterday. So did Andrew Nembhard, while Halliburton scored 26. The Pacers in the East finale for the first time in a decade. Meanwhile, the Knicks season ends despite 2-0 and 3-2 leads in the series and with one more injury. Jalen Brunson exiting in the third quarter with a broken left hand.
Did you see what Halliburton was wearing postgame?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it. What was it?
It was a hoodie with Reggie Miller doing the choke pose.
Oh, no. That is mean.
Well,
he didn't wear it going into the arena, by the way.
Oh, he had it.
Front runner. No, he didn't. We didn't wear it.
Oh, he did the.
Threw it on after he won.
Made sure that they won so that he can wear it.
That
like a
seems
beta.
smart to me.
We always wonder if guys have outfits for when they win and when they lose.
He did.
He definitely did.
He'll continue the Reggie Miller tradition of treating the Knicks like a Super Bowl and then failing to win a championship.
Well, I was going to say that he knows how the rest of that went, right? After the choke, they lost that series.
They did, yeah. So. Did you know Reggie Miller was 7-27 in his career at Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, the Nick Killer thing definitely gets a little overblown, but then everybody who participated in all in the documentary about it, like there's a lot of culpability. A lot of people who are keeping that narrative alive.
I don't like when you ruin my 90s NBA nostalgia with facts.
No, Michael Jordan was the way bigger Nick Killer. But.
Right. Whenever I see a highlight from the 90s and the final score of the game was Bulls win 82-74. I'm like, what was happening back then? I thought Michael Jordan never missed a shot.
They're
How
only
come
playing
he
three
scored
quarters.
82 points?
Allow me now to introduce you to San Francisco Giants reliever Sean Jelly. That is spelled Hjelle, but pronounced Jelly. So what do you think his entrance song would be?
I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this. My body too delicious for your body.
Sweet Sean was asked about that song last week on NBC Sports Bay Area.
Whether they knew it or not, I think Destiny's Child made that song for me to come out to into the game. And so I'm really, really appreciative for those wonderful ladies for doing that for me. And all I can do is just groove to the song and kind of honor them in that way. And, I grew up on it, so I gotta honor some of the greats.
Amen. I'm with him on that. Big butts matter.
They do. And now, you know me, I like tight butts. I don't know if his is jelly bootylicious or what, but good for him. I like a tight ass.
The only thing about this, which the Mets are feeling now, is if you have this kind of entrance music, you got to be lights out.
Yeah.
Like the minute he's giving up 3-run bombs every night, like when he comes out, you hear that bootylicious. Them Giant fans are like, "Oh, here we go with this guy with the freaking Destiny's Child bootylicious."
Yeah.
Sounds like this guy watched a lot of Daniel Vogelbach walking up to the batter's box to milkshake.
Yeah, you got to be good.
It can turn on you quickly.
Exactly.
That's a fair point. You really got to be good if Destiny Child is going to be a walk-up song.
And like here in New York, Edwin Diaz is now useless for the Mets. So can you do lights out and trumpets the next time he comes into a game at Citi Field?
Right. That's the thing.
They should cancel the trumpets.
I don't know if he should do it.
Gotta earn him
tweeted
back.
that.
He's not even going to be pitching in the 9th inning. So
You got to cancel the trumpets. And I actually blame Timmy Trumpet, the guy who came over from Australia or wherever he is from and did the live rendition of it 2 years ago.
Since then, it has not gone well.
Yeah, because he gets on the mic like a dope and goes, Mets are winning the World Series. Like, have you met this team?
I will say this. I'm not afraid of. I don't mind fans. I mean, I don't know if he's a fan. That's maybe the problem. But I don't typically mind fans who are like confident in their team. Like, I'm not a scary fan. So like this idea that you can't say anything or you're gonna jinx your team. I don't mind him doing that. I just wish Diaz didn't tear his whatever in the WBC.
To be honest, EJ, you should be though.
I probably should be, but I just
all
feel
your teams.
I know I probably should be, but I just feel like it's just like to me that only gives other fans who don't root for your team satisfaction to be like, oh, it's always woe is me.
Oh.
Like you should be like, no, my team is gonna figure it out and they're gonna get it done. And they don't. But like, there are usually 30 teams or 29 teams that don't win. So like
losers.
Yeah. As
Pete always says, they're all losers. So let them be losers and just like we are.
I know, but some people can lose in anonymity and others can't.
That's fair.
Have a great time.
What else we got?
Jelly, by the way, a perfect inning of relief yesterday in a 4-1 win for the Giants over the Rockies. Yu Darvish has now thrown a career-high 25 consecutive scoreless innings after 7 last night in Atlanta. He and the Padres winning 9-1. There's a double header for them coming today. One-time stud running back David Johnson, who formerly retired yesterday after 8 NFL seasons. Johnson last played in 2022 with the Saints. Back in 2016, he was first-team All-Pro with 20 total touchdowns.
Is it bad that I totally forgot this person existed?
I mean, the biggest thing I think about with him was the trade, being involved in one of the lopside trade where he was the centerpiece of being traded for DeAndre Hopkins, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was like, you're getting back David Johnson.
Well, it was never player for player, exactly.
It wasn't, but there was one player in this, and
they kind of had to include somebody, as I recall it.
But he was
like
somebody
He
then.
just feels like he's the most like anonymous star or borderline superstar player. He retired and I was like, All-Pro Johnson. I was like, this is not Chris Johnson. Who are they talking about?
I'm with you. I did
the
not.
First thing
I
I
was
thought was Chris Johnson.
Yeah,
I'm like,
what's the
CJ2K?
first name?
And then I was like, well, Duke Johnson retired last week, so they're not talking about Duke. He was never an All-Pro. Like, who is? And it kept saying D Johnson. I'm like, it can't be Duke Johnson. Who are they talking about? Then I was like, David Johnson. Then I had to read the article. I was like, oh right, he was on the Cardinals. He was really good.
Came out of the gates.
It feels like a long time ago.
It does. It feels like it was 20 years ago. It was only, I guess, 10. Right. It feels like it was double that.
Was he an original Texan? I mean, that's how long ago it feels.
He was not.
Like he was
original
David Carr's
Texan.
running back.
Yeah. No, Dom Capers wasn't coaching.
It was like that. I don't know if you guys saw that Tennessee Titans social video
Yep.
when they did the thing, and the person's like, "Oh, David Carr, he was with them." That was how they identified the Texans.
Oh yeah, the Titans social media team asking unsuspecting or not, obviously, clearly not football fans, to name a team simply by the logo, and the results were pretty hilarious.
But they got the Jets right.
They did. What'd they say?
Cursed since 1970.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or jinxed.
Hang a banner.
Yeah.
Why do people keep getting the Colts and the Cowboys confused?
I love it.
That's the one.
The horseshoe?
The horseshoe?
Yeah, they keep thinking that that's the Cowboys.
I like the one where they called it, the guy goes Colts, and they said, "Oh, that's Eli Manning's team."
There's that too.
That was pretty good.
And no one knows the Jaguars. They were 0 for 2.
Yeah.
I think it's that logo.
It is. It's a forgettable logo.
Yeah, they changed it, and it just hasn't stuck.
And there's not one person that has ever really transcended the organization to like make you know he was a Jaguar.
That's true.
They need a super fan. I know they got Lil Duval, but he's not famous. He's not famous enough. Obviously,
I love
Manny
when they
disagrees.
do the fat one and then the little skinny one. They do both versions
Yeah,
of the Duval mascot. But
yeah, I think the mascot, they're fine on the mascot, the pool. They got all that stuff going.
yeah, but they need like I don't want to say a Spike Lee, but they need somebody. I don't know.
a celebrity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Celebrity, right? That's the mascot. I meant a celebrity. Like,
Don't they need a Super Bowl before they get a celebrity fan? Isn't that the priority?
I mean, Knicks keep adding celebrities, and we still don't win anything. So I think we'll be
I
fine.
mean, yes, New York celebrities. Just because the cast of Law and Order and John Starks are on the sideline.
Oh, give me a break. We really going? We
Yeah,
really
it was
doing that?
definitely a lot of Chris Merloni on the sideline there.
Oh my god.
It's
Nah,
been a
Knicks
good
don't have
run.
real celebrities.
Okay, we got Jacksonville Jaguars celebrity fans. Somehow they're
Lil
getting
Duval.
Lil Duval
Right.
is
Is there a big Duval? I'm not.
I don't think there is. I think
Okay.
he's
That's his
only,
dad,
I think
actually.
I think there's only the comedian Lil Duval.
so he's number 1 on this list.
Oh.
Number 2 is Brett Myers, former MLB pitcher. It's not even like
Brett Meyer, he was a Philly.
yeah. Yes, he was.
Good pitcher.
And then they have Bill Murray, number 3, but he's
Well, how is he 3 if he's on the list?
Surprised he barely he showed up to one Jaguars game, probably because his nephew was like on one of the teams, like he does with these college basketball teams, and then they threw him as a Jaguar fan.
That
You're
cannot
right.
be an
This
appropriate
doesn't make
list.
any sense. If he's a fan, he's immediately their most famous fan. And number 4 on the list is Gene Hackman, also way more famous
Right.
than Lil Duval.
And certainly
and
Brett
Brett
Myers.
But you guys would. But none of you guys associate those people with the Jaguars. Everybody associates Lil Duval with the Jaguars.
That's true. Grayson Allen. Congrats, Jags fans.
I still don't know who Little Duval is, so I'm 0 for 2 on You Should Know This
Same.
guy with Josh Brolin and Thanos.
Two Americas.
But if you're gonna make a list of fans and you have the audacity to write down Bill Murray's a Jaguar fan.
I got a better one
He's
for you.
got to go to number 1.
I got a better one for you. I didn't see
Jesus?
eight on the list is Paul McCartney.
8?
Well, he's not a Jaguar fan.
No, it's a picture of him on a
He's
bicycle.
driven a Jaguar. That's about it.
Yeah. He's a picture of him riding a bicycle, and he's wearing
They
a
pronounce
Jags
it
hat.
Jaguar.
Yes.
I think they're just throwing people on who have been to Jaguar games.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of those folks, not that I've watched a million Jaguar games, I've never watched any of those folks be at Jaguars games, rep the Jaguars.
I'd argue that Paul McCartney's never been in Jacksonville, Florida, let alone at a Jaguar game.
That's true. I don't know if Jacksonville was big enough for him to actually pull up and perform.
McCartney did have a big NFL run. You guys remember that, where he was at a lot of games?
Yeah, but I feel like it's almost like the Rob Lowe, where he's just NFL hat.
NFL hat.
Like that. Like, and counting that as him being a Jaguar fan.
Do you think they said football and he thought he was showing up to a soccer match? I mean, he's British.
Well, they do play in London a lot.
He said there's Jacksonville Jaguars fan forum. Happy 85th birthday to Gene Hackman, the most famous Jaguars fan.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
How?
Anyway, headlines?
No, I got nothing to top that.
I mean, how do you get past
Get some research on Lil Duval next
I'll be
hour.
okay.
I mean, the name's right. It's right in the title. Okay, great.
Oh, I got it. McCartney played a halftime show in Jacksonville, so he has been there.
Wow.
It was the Jacksonville Super Bowl. McCartney played, so he's been to Jacksonville.
He didn't know he was in
didn't even
Jacksonville.
go to a Jaguar game. He was just at a game that was played in the
Most
stadium.
likely playing with the Patriots.
But actually, I think it actually surprises Maggie that he's actually stepped foot in Jacksonville. So,
I mean, listen, I think he was probably duped and thought he was going to some kind of soccer match. Okay, thank you. Coming up, we've got this odd story for you. This is a story involving one of the young stars of the NFL, and it is just weird. And we love weird things. So we'll bring that to you next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Philly going down to yellow and brown. That's what's in. Padres on the loose. Let's go, Goose. That's what's in.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Bryce gonna lose, and Manny's gonna cruise. That's what's in. Give Philly no slack and send them back. That's what's in. Philly going down to yellow and brown. That's what's in. Padres on the loose. Let's go, Goose. That's what's in. Bryce gonna lose, and Manny's gonna cruise. That's what's in. Give Philly no slack and send them back. That's what's in. Philly going down to yellow and brown. That's what's in. Padres on the loose. Let's go, Goose. That's what's in. Bryce gonna lose, and Manny's gonna cruise. That's what's in. Give
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
He's got the road trip blues, bogus ways. He's got the road trip blues, left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes. But Bogusch stuck at home, his heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembyama, Perloff took the fall, but it's Bogusch left behind, feeling 10 feet tall, a loser in his own right. Can't catch a break, road trip dream shattered. For goodness sake, for goodness sake, Bogusch cruising highways, hilarity and talk, San Antonio shining, the city's calling their names, the Bogusch sitting home, stuck playing life's cuckoo games. Bogusch waves. He's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All right, so this one's a little odd, okay? We're really expecting big things from Marvin Harrison Jr., star at Ohio State, now drafted 4th overall by the Arizona Cardinals. Perloff, he's amazing. He's just so electric.
Surefire wide receiver prospect.
Just can't wait.
I couldn't believe during the draft when they were talking about other receivers going in front of him because he's gigantic, he's fast, he catches everything. He should be a star.
I mean, Malik Neighbors went 2 spots later, so there was competition, but Harrison is amazing. So he's now involved in this really interesting thing with Fanatics, the company that makes jerseys and does trading cards and all that stuff, because they're in this lawsuit. And to get to the heart of it, the lawsuit between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Fanatics is whether or not he basically signed a binding contract with them going back to May of 2023. Harrison said he didn't sign this binding contract and that he's had other offers from other trading card companies and stuff like that since then, and he wants Fanatics to either match that offer or exceed the offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically what's happening is this is kind of holding up like this whole NFL PA deal with Fanatics, and they're suing him. It is a very odd story, but it led to Harrison not being at the rookie symposium thing that's sponsored by Fanatics this weekend, where Tom Brady was there with Drake May. We can't tell if Marvin Harrison is doing this in this sort of altruistic way that's going to end up helping other NFL players get a better deal, or if this is just a weird contractual thing.
Right. Yeah, it's not exactly a Kurt Flood bringing free agency into MLB kind of thing.
Yeah.
It feels like originally when the story came out, I thought that he was refusing to wear or sign the deal to wear a Fanatics jersey, and now we're finding out it's much more about
the trading cards.
The trading cards, and Fanatics bought Topps, and there's all this controversy with them and Panini, and this big sort of they've had lawsuits going back and forth for a long time. It's getting way into the weeds, where I think whatever principle was there is now gone. Now it's a he said, she said. But let me ask you this, Maggie: does this make you think differently about Marvin Harrison's upcoming year, either as a player or as a marketability? Is he going to be a star?
Not at all. I think this is probably has very little to do with him. His dad, Marvin Harrison Sr., the Hall of Famer, is definitely involved here. And I just think it's nothing, in my opinion, is going to keep Marvin Harrison from having a really great rookie year. And I think that he can play not only with Kyler Murray, but even if Kyler Murray got hurt, I think he'd be good with a backup. I think he's just that kind of guy. I'm expecting that type of big stuff from him.
But I'll be honest, I think of him more like Calvin Johnson in the sense that he's going to be awesome, but he's not going to say anything. Calvin Johnson, for a long time, was notoriously quiet. Then he ended up in this really cool Nike ad where he's wearing headphones, and I don't even think he said anything in that ad. But generally, he strikes me as one of these quiet superstar types where Malik Neighbors is the exact opposite.
Yeah,
he's sort of
big
the
personality.
heir apparent to Odell Beckham Jr. is a big personality. So I think it's interesting. Like this lawsuit, you're right. This is getting into now the legal weeds. I think this portends to kind of a quiet stardom out of Marvin Harrison Jr., much like his dad. His dad never really did a lot of interviews, wasn't in a lot of commercials. I think he's going to be awesome, but I think, and that kind of has an air of mystery. I like the Calvin Johnson. We didn't really know him early in his career.
Right.
It's like, this dude is awesome. He's so cool, doesn't say anything. I think that's going to be this mystique around Marvin Harrison Jr.
Do you think there's any... What do you think about the Cardinals year one with him and Kyler together?
Nothing.
Really?
I don't... Listen, I just can't see Kyler Murray working. I know they paid him a lot of money. I have very low expectations for this team. I like Jonathan Gannon as a personality. He seems really cool. But
does he? He seems uncool. Pew,
I mean,
pew.
he's just weird. I kind of like that. And they got a lot out of the offense at the very end of the season under Drew Petzing. But this is definitely like a bottom 5 team in the league. That's where I view them. I think they're stuck behind San Francisco and LA for sure. And I think Seattle has a lot of young players that are coming up. They're, to me, clearly the 4th team in the West. I have very low expectations, even with Marvin Harrison.
855-212-4227. Here's a little more football news for you. Tua Tagovailoa showed up for OTAs. So
Wow.
if anyone was worried that he was going to be skipping out on more of the offseason program or any of it, he is not. And
Well, that's funny because they reported, Jonathan Jones, our buddy, reported that he wasn't going to do that.
he did skip much of the early portion of the offseason, and now he has shown up. That really tracks for me with Tua. I can't even imagine him getting into like a heated or contentious back and forth with Miami Dolphins. It just
because he's a nice guy who plays the ukulele or the guitar.
Well, not just that, but kind of, yeah.
But a lot of the super nice guys have held out. I'm not sure it's connected.
It's not about the ukulele. It's about, I think that he would not want to be seen as being someone outside the team. I think that's part of it. And I think the other part is he has had injury stuff, especially with the concussion. So I think it's hard to have that as much leverage than maybe some other guys. Who have had more perfect health.
That's interesting.
Now, granted, Joe Burrow has not had perfect health, and he got signed to a massive deal, but he also has been to a Super Bowl.
I just think that's interesting that you think Tua, because he has less leverage because of his health history, would not play hardball. But
not like this. Not like holding out hardball. I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but not publicly.
If that's the case, then he's not going to get the money then, because that means he doesn't have the leverage.
I don't know if he's going to get the money. I mean, maybe he's more willing to take a deal that's a little bit more friendly just for the bird in the hand.
I would.
And Jordan Love did, to be fair, and that was a very different situation. But Jordan Love kind of signed this contract that was like, wow, it's kind of under market value. Maybe you might want to, play out the 5th year of your rookie contract and then, kind of see what happens. And he was like, no, I'm going to take the $35 million or whatever guaranteed. And now what's going to happen? They're going to renegotiate the contract. If I'm Tua, maybe I take something less, knowing that if I outperform it, I'm going to get another huge bite at the apple.
Oh, I think Tua, I don't know. Are you sure if you're Tua, you're going to get another huge bite at the apple?
It's about health, right?
Yeah.
That's the only reason. His skill is there.
I would take $40 million a year if I was Tua. That's what I would do.
So that's taking quite a bit less than everyone else.
That's Daniel Jones' money.
Yep.
Yeah, I would maybe, but Daniel Jones was only 2 years. If you could get 4 years at $40 million, I would do it. I'm totally cautious. Honestly, I'd be the worst negotiator if I was a quarterback. I don't understand
you're not doing our next contract, by the way.
I don't understand how the average quarterback holds out, but Tua isn't the average quarterback. You bring up a great point. His health history. Tua's got to jump on something. He's not going to get $52 million. And honestly, he hasn't earned it because he hasn't won anything yet. I would pay, if I'm a team, I would want to pay Trevor Lawrence $50. I wouldn't think twice about it. Tua, I would.
Because of how much bigger Trevor Lawrence is?
Just because he hasn't, Tua's injuries, that concussion thing, we know it builds over time. And I feel like, yes, that is still, I don't care how much jiu-jitsu he does. That thing, that's cumulative over the years. And I know guys have put that behind them and had great careers. Aaron Rodgers famously had terrible concussions, got over it. But that would just scare me. And also, he's good, but he's great in that system. I think you can put Trevor Lawrence in any system. Can you put Tua into any system?
I mean, here's the thing about Tua. I don't want to pretend like he wasn't this high-level college quarterback. It's not like he doesn't have a pedigree here. The tank for Tua was a real thing, obviously, until Joe Burrow came along. And Justin Herbert has also, I'm trying to think of like the guys who were drafted around him. Tua's not nothing. I actually do think he could survive and he could thrive not just in having the fastest receivers in Tyreek Hill and Waddle.
Yeah, I just think like if you ask him to do a lot of physical play to sort of extend plays or run the ball, you're running into the injury risk.
Yep.
If I gave you a 3-man poll, if you could build a team around Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, or Tua, who comes in last out of that?
Probably Tua.
Probably
because of the concussions.
There's no probably. Oh, forget the concussions.
And his size.
I just think. Honestly, I think if you put Herbert or Trevor Lawrence in Miami right now, can you imagine how good they'd be?
Okay, but if you want to talk about on-field success, yes, eye test and maybe some numbers can back that up, but Tua's numbers are off the charts. And I don't know, they've all done very little in terms of resume.
I do ask, though, how much of the way Tua's season ended last year informs this conversation? Because you're talking about 5 picks over the last 3 games.
Yep.
You had a terrible playoff game. He had a terrible game against Baltimore where he had a chance to actually be the number overall seed. People forget how much they fell off by the end of that year, and then you don't even win the division. Like, I think there is a question about, like, he can put up big numbers for a majority of the season if he stays healthy. But when the weather gets colder, things get a little tougher. Defenses figure you out a little bit more. Can he still raise the level of his team around him? And he just didn't last season. Now, is it a young quarterback who's developing still, or is it a guy who maybe is the product of his circumstances? And that's the question with him.
The weather thing for sure, but they blew some of those games in Miami too. Like they lost to Buffalo, that was in Miami. Remember that weird Monday night game with the Titans where they had that game absolutely won, and then somehow the Titans pulled that game out with Will Levis?
There's a lot going on in Miami. Their defensive players all got hurt. That was a huge factor.
And that Kansas City game, too, was a really bad look.
Brutally cold.
Oh, the 30-degree below zero.
Oh, no, I was talking about the London game. You know about going to London where he throws that duck. He threw some ridiculously bad passes in that last drive. And that's kind of been like the caricature of what people, Tua's haters, believe that he is.
But it's funny because I could also look at Justin Herbert and be like, you were under center for one of the all-time playoff collapses.
No.
And he doesn't wear that at all.
Yeah, that's called Brandon Staley. Well, and one more thing. You mentioned the Ravens game. I mean, the Ravens beat a lot of good quarterbacks really good quarterbacks into the ground. They blew. How many teams did they blow out? They blew out the Cowboys, the Lions.
Ravens were killers by the end. But again, and you lose to Kansas City, I guess there's no shame in that. But you lose to Buffalo, you lose to Tennessee. It just, I don't know.
That Tennessee game
felt a little
on
paper tiger the way their season ended.
Well, the question is also, do you think that Miami is very much monitoring what's going on with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys? And if that ends up being a destination where the Cowboys move on from Dak, if you're Miami, wouldn't you want to just slide Dak Prescott right in there?
Oh, I don't know about that. That's where you're going, to Dak?
Coming up. Who is feeling the most pressure now in their respective conference finals? We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Jokic up into the front court. Off to KCP. He'll rise up for the three. It's offline. Towns has got the rebound with 30 seconds left. The Nuggets will back off. They won't foul. It's over. It's over.
It is over after the Nuggets had a 20-point lead at home in Game 7. They are going home. Bye-bye to the defending champions and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The upstart T-Wolves, Perloff, moving on to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.
Yeah, I have no idea how it happened. I was sure 58-38, this game seemed over in a sense, although you kind of had the feeling the T-Wolves hadn't given their best shot at that point. Then the Nuggets just wore out. Sorry, Coach Mike Malone, you got to give Jokic a rest. He was exhausted by the end, did all he could. It wasn't enough. The other guys failed Nikola Jokic, in my opinion. And the Nuggets, I can't believe no one's ever going to repeat in the NBA again.
Well, I don't know. Super teams may not be totally dead. We'll see. But I mean, this is brutal here on the Nuggets side of things. And if you're Jokic, I mean, you started off, they were giving you threes, you were missing them. His stat line will always look fine at the end because of how good of a player he is. But it was just disappointing. It really was. And the question today is whether or not the Denver Nuggets choked away this 20-point lead or whether the Minnesota Timberwolves just came out and snatched it from them. And while I'm extremely disappointed in Jokic and the Nuggets, this is unforgivable. You got to give the credit to the Timberwolves defense because they were playing terrible in the first half, and the defense is the one thing you can control. And they showed up huge in the third quarter and the fourth, and they just completely locked everyone down. It was impressive on the defensive side.
Oh, I think Anthony Edwards he reminds me of Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan in the sense that he loves that defensive challenge. And these great players are great two-way players. The defense he put on Murray in the second half. Now, I don't know where that was in the first half when Murray just absolutely went off.
Yeah.
But it's incredible to me. I was very interested in the fact that the Nuggets were trapping Anthony Edwards at the top of the key, basically saying, here, the rest of the T-Wolves, you have to beat us. And I thought there was no way they were going to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. But then something happened at halftime where they realized they were wide open, and they kept on miking up Anthony Edwards. He kept saying to his teammates, shoot, shoot, shoot. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I give him a lot of credit for being a leader, even though he's 22.
It's amazing because he was having a terrible shooting night. You mentioned about the trapping, and they were just hell-bent on shutting him down from a scoring perspective. And it didn't, he didn't lose hope. He didn't lose faith. He didn't get outside of the system. He didn't try to play 5-on-1 to force it.
Totally.
And he kept making the right play, and he never really found the shooting stroke at all. And it still ended up, I would say, not mattering, but the rest of the teammates did pick up the slack. And it's funny because the same guy who was the architect of building the Nuggets happens to be the same person who's the architect of building the Timberwolves. Yep. And it's like he understood, and it's not brain surgery, but having all that size, and for as much as Rudy Gobert has been a liability at times, and Karl Anthony Towns, it gets in terrible foul trouble and is not a perfect player, to have those guys and Naz Reid, Jokic was just not as effective as he normally is.
Yeah, I mean, he totally owned Gobert for chunks of that game.
Fair.
It's funny about it. Gobert, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, is also a gigantic defensive liability. It's the most bizarre dynamic in sports.
Yeah, but last night, I mean, in the second half, he was very good defensively.
Well, because they switched him off Jokic. I mean, when he got on Jokic's eyes lit up.
But also getting fouled, hitting free throws. He was turning turnaround 15-foot jumpers.
He hit one of those.
He hit one of those.
Well, I'm curious.
One more than I thought he would hit.
Watch the Mavs try and get him up high. Because the second Luka or Kyrie pulled Gobert, that's 2 points. You might as well just run down the other way. So
in terms of the Timberwolves and sort of I don't want to say like a joie de vivre, just like this very interesting attitude. Man, you didn't know that one? A joie de vivre?
What is that, French?
Yeah, like a love of life. Just their sort of MO, their vibe, if you will. Let's hear a little last night of Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. They're both at the podium, and we'll have the question as attached to this too, being asked about kind of arriving a little ahead of schedule.
And usually in NBA history, it says you have to lose and lose big before you win. What is it about this team that says
we lost last year?
Yeah, but that's different. You have to lose at a bigger stage. Usually, teams usually.
It's the playoffs. We lost last year.
We lost the last 2 years.
Damn, how much more we gotta lose?
Yeah, how much you want us to lose?
We're losing for 20 years.
I mean, that's just the truth, dog.
Damn.
What makes
the 20 years line really got me. I mean, fair.
I mean, it's been 30 years, actually.
Yeah, have not been back to the Western Conference Finals in 20.
Anthony Edwards wasn't alive 30 years ago. He's 22 years old.
He thinks the franchise started with Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. A lot of us do. But
it didn't?
It's funny.
Honestly, yeah. Like, when did this franchise start?
You had, Doug West playing for them and all them guys.
Who was their
Wait,
first ever?
Garnett? I mean, Garnett was there pretty early in the T-Wolves.
Yeah, but Gugliotta was there first.
Who was their first ever draft pick? We can find that out.
Was it Googs? No, Googs went to Washington first, didn't he? Or am I misremembering all of this?
He might have went to Washington first. I think he did.
Looks like 89 was their...
Oh, really? They go back to 89? Who was their first pick, Manny? You got it?
Stand by. So the question on this is, listen, this type of attitude for the Timberwolves is going to serve them well because you don't feel, listen, they haven't won anything yet. Let's just pump the brakes also a little on that. There's still an opportunity for them to lose on a big stage because it's only going to get bigger. But this kind of attitude of, no, we don't feel like we're here a year early. We feel like we're here right on time. We feel like we've done enough losing and enough learning from our losses and kind of, gotten those hard lessons that we don't need to be learning them again.
I guess. Yeah, that all sounds great when you win, but you could also flip that the other way if they happen to lose. If Denver hits their 3-pointers and all that attitude is not working,
that is true.
I don't know. It feels like we can assign anything we want based on these quotes. To me, this is such a great contrast. I'm going to say youth and age. Not like the Mavs are old by any means,
Not at all.
but it feels like they're the guys who've been around, and these T-Wolves are the new kids on the block. So I think that's an interesting contrast of styles.
It's funny. The Mavs still seem super young to me, except for Kyrie, who's been around for a long time. But all the rest of the guys, and Tim Hardaway Jr., I guess. But, I mean, to me, Luka still feels young in his career. It's his second Western Conference Finals.
Feels like he's been around a lot longer than the T-Wolves. He's had a lot more success. Maybe that's the way I feel. He is 25, which is ancient for
Sure.
It just feels like, but the Dallas has been there. They've been to Western Conference Finals. Like nobody thought coming into this season, I don't think that the Timberwolves were going to be here now. Yes, we knew they had talent, but they had done nothing in the postseason.
Well, I also think people were skeptical. They were skeptical about Gobert, and they've been skeptical about Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, do you have it? Who was the Timberwolves' first ever draft pick?
Pooh Richardson.
Oh, okay.
I was close.
Philadelphia native, UCLA grad, one of the best of all time.
Doug West, by the way, was their second round pick that first year, so I was close.
He
did start with the franchise.
The question too, how much? Man, you don't hear the nickname Pooh that much anymore.
Yeah, Pooh was I feel like a very popular one in like the 80s.
Yeah, it kind of went out.
It's not a great nickname.
Yeah.
The last guy that nicknamed Pooh was Derrick Rose.
Was that his nickname?
Yeah, they call him Pooh because apparently he was very quiet and sleepy.
Oh, I thought it was because it was hoop backwards.
No, I don't think that's why. I could be wrong.
I always thought it was just like must have been some embarrassing story from their childhood.
I think it is for Rose. I don't know what it is for Pooh Richardson, but
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
Is it really Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah. Because he looked like Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, well,
okay.
that's the same thing with Rose.
Interesting.
There you go.
All right, and now we've gone down that rabbit hole.
Should we get somebody named Blue for like Blue's Clues or Bluey?
Bluey? Yeah.
Wait, can we go back to this Mavericks being young? Like the Mavericks, maybe you could tell me. I know they have a lot of young guys. They feel like an old team. Basically because Luka plays a 42-year-old at the half court down in Brooklyn Piers game. Like they do not. They're definitely like an older, more established team to me.
Really? But none of these guys, I mean, you're talking about Lively. He's super young, right?
Yeah, no, I know. Lively. Well, first of all, where did Lively come from? It's not like anybody on earth was talking about Derek Lively until this playoffs.
Well, he came from Duke, I think, technically, right?
Played good in the regular season. But, I mean Hardy's young. Josh Green is 23 years old. Even the guys they have a lot of guys who have been in the league for a while but are still young. Like P.J. Washington is 25 years old. Darren Gafford is 25 years old. I can't believe Derek Jones is 27. I would have swore he was 32.
Yeah, I mean, they're much older than Minnesota. I mean, how old is Kleber?
I mean,
he's got to be.
Karl Anthony Towns has been in the league for a while.
Yeah, a lot of guys younger than Cat.
Gobert.
Yeah, and younger than Gobert.
I don't know. How old is Kyrie?
Kyrie's
the
30.
outlier.
He's 32.
How old is Maxi Kleber? I feel like he's been around a long time, too.
Yeah, but he's kind of out of the rotation. He's 32.
So here's the question, though. It's like the amount of pressure now that would be on Luka Doncic since they're playing Minnesota rather than playing the Nuggets. I think if the Mavericks are playing the Nuggets, you're probably saying to yourself, well, he's going to go up against Jokic versus Luka, and this is probably just the Nuggets kind of building on a back-to-back championship resume and run. But now that it's the Timberwolves, I think the pressure does really switch to Luka Doncic for this. There's been a lot expected of this guy because he's been such a good player. Again, it's his second Western Conference Finals, and I think there's like all right, when is it going to happen for this guy kind of feeling, even though he is young. He came in third in MVP voting this year. He's someone we talk about all the time. He's definitely the face of the franchise in Dallas and one of the young stars of the league. I think he starts feeling the pressure now that it's Minnesota, a lot more pressure than had it been facing Jokic on the other side.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Although I do think, it's a matter of expectations. I'm not sure anybody really thought Luka was had a championship team around him this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a lot of talk like, I know they can't really make any moves in the offseason, but what are they going to do? What's the missing piece with Dallas? That, to me, was the more common conversation. Is what do you have to add to Luka to get to that place? And now we're not having that conversation anymore.
Because they added Kyrie.
Well, they got to, I don't think it's because they added Kyrie. I think it's because of those trades for all the defensive guys in the offseason. I think they got super lucky that Derek Lively is this good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are the odds of that? Also, let's face it, they got a good draw so far. They got Clippers without Kawhi, and they got OKC, who's a year or two away. To me, things have laid out the right way for them. Maybe that I'm being way too cynical there, but let's face it, Oklahoma City is not really a complete roster right now to me. I felt like they're like, all right, Shea, you can score, but who else is going to beat us here? And it turned out nobody.
Yeah, I'm not turning my back on OKC, though. I feel like they're going to be here year after year after year now. Like, I don't think this derails them in any way. But
I just don't think like they were old enough to really win this year. I think you have to be the right age to win in the NBA, and the Mavs are at that age where the Thunder are not. That's just my opinion.
So I think besides Jason Tatum, who really is got to be feeling some pressure in this, not just Eastern Conference final, because the Celtics are huge favorites, but also he's been knocking on the door for so long. I would say besides Tatum, the next person who's feeling the pressure has got to be Luka. I still think there's an idea about the Timberwolves who have this sort of playing with house money kind of thing. And I don't think Luka gets that benefit of the doubt. And I think every one of the Pacers has got to be playing pretty free and easy. So if it's Tatum 1, I think it's got to be Luka 2.
Probably. But I do think there's this idea that Luka does not have the same team around him that, say, Anthony Edwards has. He doesn't have all these. It just doesn't feel like he has the bodies around him. Because nobody knows. You're telling me P.J. Washington's going to keep shooting 40% from three and that Derek Jones Jr. is going to do all this and that Daniel Gafford, like we're talking a lot of non-household names around Luka. You have Kyrie, yes, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But Kyrie hasn't even been the guy. It's been all these other guys who no one knows. So it feels like Luka is elevating them, and the team around Ant is better. That's how I feel. Like Minnesota feels like a more talented team. That's why they're the favorite. So Luka's an underdog here. How can you say that all the pressure's on an underdog?
Because him individually, and I think because of the status that he has right now outside of even his team. But here's a question for you. Could I double or nothing the next series so I can try to redeem myself from the bet that I lost to you, where I thought that the Nuggets were going to win? You said the Timberwolves were going to win.
What is double of a lime jello tuna fish
casserole?
Or whatever you call it.
I don't know. I'm offering anything to get out of this.
I don't feel like you should.
It's like
get out
tuna
of it, though.
fish.
I'm definitely not letting her out of it.
Wait,
Don't
but
worry.
hold on. Just hear me out. It's tuna fish. In some pictures, it's like more of a Jell-O based, and then it seems like in other pictures, it's like more of a tuna fish base. And I'm going strictly off color here. Some of these are just lime green, shockingly lime green with a little tuna fish on the top and like some green olives. I mean, just disgusting combination. But the other ones you sent me that are brown looking,
those
feels
are bad.
like it's just a tuna fish thing with some gelatin in it. It's just awful.
Give me something that you think is double that,
Okay.
and I will consider it.
How about this? I will run EJ's gassers for him. So
Not half of double. Not half of the punishment, double the punishment.
I will take someone else's punishment and bring that on myself.
Kind of like this.
I'm sure. I thought you might like this.
No. But okay, I'm not talking about switching up this current bet. I'm saying if you give me something that is twice as bad for you as eating tuna lime jello.
So here's
running
what
gassers
here's
clearly
what I want
is
to
not.
do.
You probably do that in an exercise class.
So here's what I want to do. I want to take EJ's punishment of running the gassers just for a shot to get another crack at this thing, right? So I'll run the gassers like just by volunteering and stepping in front of that train. That just gets me an opportunity to bet you double or nothing for this next series.
Okay.
Like I'll take that bet just for the opportunity to try to get out of the Jell-O bet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's definitely not happening.
Damn it.
I don't want to eat this thing. And by the way, I made this bet with you when the T-Wolves were up 1-0. That's how confident I was in the Nuggets. I mean, a Game 7 at home? Come on, man.
Manny, you want to see the Jell-O, right?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Yeah, I think the audience wants to see the Jell-O, Maggie. I'm sorry.
And who gets to make it? Can I be a part of the
Nope.
making? Do I get to choose whether
You
it's
get
more
nothing.
of the Jell-O base?
You get nothing.
I get nothing and like it.
I guess the only debate is how many bites. How about we do this double? Here's a double or nothing. If I'm picking the Mavs in the series, and I'll give you the T-Wolves.
Okay.
If the T-Wolves win, you only have to have 3 bites of it. If the T-Wolves lose to the Mavs, you have to eat the entire casserole.
No. I can't. Because also 3 bites seems awful. I don't feel like that's a win.
You can't even do 3 bites?
I don't even think I do 3. I'll do 1.
You can't even do 3 bites of a lime Jell-O tuna casserole?
There's no shot after I eat the first bite of that I'll be able to choke down 2 more bites.
So you're saying the first bite is just as bad as eating the whole thing?
Yes, you're getting 1 bite. It'll be a big bite, but that's it.
I kind of feel like you have to get drunk for this, to be totally honest.
Can I be? Is that an option?
Yeah, I think,
oh my
I
God.
think 3 shots of vodka right before.
That's like a lifeline you're handing me. This is amazing. This is better than phoning a friend.
Actually, you maybe may have an edible and it might look delicious.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think alcohol is the one that you want.
Yeah, I don't know. Alcohol,
That's going to have to be the strongest edible known to man to get Maggie through this.
We're in New York, man. We can find it.
At least the alcohol, I know what's going to happen. The edible, I'd be totally on my own. I don't know.
How about you can I make a suggestion?
That's awesome. I want to see that.
How about hot sauce? How about hot sauce?
Will you give me like the hot mustard is what someone called in?
Absolutely not.
If I could do
I'll
hot
tell you,
mustard.
we'll do double or nothing. The nothing is you get to put hot sauce on it.
No, I want the hot mustard because that will be such an overpowering flavor that I won't get anything else.
Yeah.
Like horseradish or something.
Oh, that sounds so gross, but you're right.
Yeah, so I got to eat this lime Jell-O tuna fish thing. Carla's in Idaho. Carla, save me.
Oh, I am all about that. Did you see what I sent you guys over the weekend? Because I've been looking for this lime Jell-O salad from that Midwestern mom. Have you heard of her?
No. Please tell us. Tell us what you sent us.
She is hilarious. I sent you one where she's sneaking and she's throwing out the lime Jell-O tuna fish salad. But I watched her. I could not find the video. I think we should change it for Maggie because she and the TV host of some Minnesota morning show were both gagging on one bite. So maybe there's something else besides tuna Jell-O salad that we could do for her.
Carla, woman of reason, coming through. My guardian angel.
What we needed was a woman of reason to not take this bet so that Maggie wouldn't have to do this.
I know. Wait, so someone was on a morning show and they ate this and they gagged? Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, Carla.
The Rocky Mountain oyster isn't that bad. It really isn't.
I'll trade you out for the Rocky Mountain oyster. How about that? Carla's onto something. Carla, thank you so much. What about if I want to switch it out?
Nope.
Darn it.
I just feel like if you're switching, then I feel like I definitely need a negotiation on mine.
On your gassers?
Yeah.
Dude,
She's not switching.
I mean, I know. That's why I'm just saying, if
would-
that happens, then I'm calling an agent, and we're gonna get this thing.
I would beg to run the
negotiated down.
gassers. Beg to run the gas.
Yeah, but it's Pete Bellotti.
Pete's going to be
Pete's gonna,
merciless.
Yeah. He's like,
gonna be drunk off power.
it was 100 yards? No, it's 1,000-yard gassers. Something ridiculous.
He's going to be taking out all the frustration that he had on his football coach out on you.
I know. And know what I hate about that bet is because what people forget, and Perloff may remember, is Pete gave us 2 options that were egregious. The first option was he wanted us to go Oklahoma drill against a former NFL player.
Oh, Tiki?
Did he really?
Boomer.
Yeah, you don't remember that? No, he said of his choosing. He didn't say who.
Oh, not
He was like
someone who's been
he
retired
was like,
for a
"Give you
decade?
2 choices. You have to do either Oklahoma drill against a former player or run gassers." I'm like, well,
what?
You're basically saying either I die or I die via running. I mean, I'm not. I'd rather
Pick your
do
poison.
that.
Well, we got a guest.
An Oklahoma drill against Ray Lewis?
Yeah, that's what he was. That's what he was proposing.
Yeah.
Which was just ridiculous. Hello,
Bogus
Bogusch.
here.
I hope you guys, this is another new Pete-ism. There are often times where he begins sentences not knowing where they're going to end, which is how you get to Oklahoma drill against a former NFL player. Like he doesn't know where he's going when he starts a declaration. And this is how you end up with something that he cannot physically pull off for himself or for you guys.
The problem though, was if I'd called his bluff and I was like, well, there's no way he's going to be able to get.
Enjoy taking a shot at me, actually.
Yeah. Depends who it is.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Tiki shows up. He's in the uniform.
Michael Phelps.
Whoa,
Boomer
that's
just
way
shoved
to
me in the coffee room 15 minutes ago, so I don't think doing an Oklahoma Jill's out of bounds there.
Which is funny because you guys are about the same height.
Oh, yeah, but we're not built the same way.
No, you're not. Bogusch, thank you for clearing that up. We're going to get headlines from you in just a moment. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Bogusch. Welcome back to Maggie Perloff. Walking around my house singing Bogusch. I don't know why.
Kaplan.
We have so many weird songs that genius Andrew Kaplan comes up and they get totally stuck in my head. You don't know when it's going to hit you. It's really a problem with this show.
EJ, are you okay with us still playing Drake music even though he lost his battle against Kendrick Lamar?
I mean, I'll allow it. I do think that we probably need to add some more K-Dot to this mix, given that Drake definitely took an L.
All right. Just wondering, just taking the temperature on where we are with that one.
But isn't Drake a lifelong Minnesota Timberwolves fan?
Yes.
Well, if that's the case, then
Him and A-Rod?
bad luck for bad luck for him.
A-Rod.
Bad luck for the T-Wolves. He's a jinx.
How about A-Rod last night? Still dicey situation with whether or not he's ever going to own the Timberwolves.
Still there, though.
They're courtside in Denver, so obviously paid a lot for that ticket. Sunday night game. I get it's game 7. Sunday night game. Full suit with tie.
Begging for attention.
He looked like, in the suit, looked like Rain Man, you know? Didn't it look like what the Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman wear when they're coming down the escalator?
Question: do you think he gets on the podium if the T-Wolves win a title?
No.
Oh, wait.
Show me something, Alex.
He's going to try.
I mean, he is, 40% owner? I mean, it's not zero. I mean, they are very much involved.
I mean, I know there are those people in suits who do get up there, but I feel like it's usually fairly restricted. It's like the team owner, maybe the team owner's son if he's involved, and maybe like some family. I don't know. I just feel like maybe there aren't
all the
enough
minority owners
famous
aren't there.
minority owners, but I don't think that's something that's happening a lot where they're on the podium.
Can I ask a question about this whole situation? Every time I read a headline, my eyes glaze over on it because I don't like to hear about ownership percentages. But did this dude, Glenn Taylor, just decide not to sell the team because the team got really good?
That's their argument.
It's
I don't
looking
think
like
so.
that.
Oh, is that really the argument?
Yeah, like
That's
today's
A-Rod's
price
argument.
isn't yesterday's price type of thing.
Just because they figured out the rotation with Anthony Edwards, they don't want to sell this out? Is that really what's happening here?
Well, I think that's the A-Rod side of it is like we had this deal and it was going to take 5 years and then the ownership was going to transfer to us. But I think the Glenn Taylor side is they kept having to come up with these different rounds of funding. And it was unclear how quickly they were hitting those marks.
Well, I understand. You're right. But does Glenn Taylor, did he change his whole stance because the team got so good?
Well, yeah, again, that's what A-Rod's
That's what A-Rod will say. I would defend Glenn Taylor a little bit. It is felt from the beginning that this A-Rod, Laurie situation has just not been on the up and up. Now, I don't know if that's Taylor doing a good job of controlling the media that are pushing that angle, but I don't know. Like this is not how normal.
We usually don't hear about it.
Yeah, we don't see transactions like this.
Or
the
just
way
like
it's
rounds
happening.
of funding
Yeah.
and deadlines. It was like they have until Monday to come up with $400 million. Like you think you would have thought about that.
Yeah, well, sounds kind of like that guy that was owning the Islanders a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that was.
Yeah, which we
That's
saw
not
how that
great.
went. I'm not saying A-Rod is a complete scammer. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, the last time I remember this being weird, where when's the money going to come, if they're going to make this deadline, was that. So, I don't know. If I was Glenn Taylor, I'd be a little nervous, too.
Because they did have guys leave. Like, funding on the A-Rod side, guys took their money and left.
Yes,
so they had
exactly.
to find new money to get to the final deadline. So, I guess that would scare you if you're trying to sell to them and their money people vanish.
Man, if you can't trust A-Rod in sports, I don't know who you can trust.
Well, it just goes to show A-Rod, who's like made so much money in his career and now does 100 businesses and making all this money. And even he doesn't have close to the amount of capital you need to buy the Timberwolves.
If you Google Timberwolves owner, the first thing that pops up in big bold letters is owner Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, I mean, he's the face of it in a way. Oh, man.
I mean, why that suit, though?
I don't know. But then I feel like when he doesn't wear a suit, he looks weird, too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like he can't win.
It's just very formal.
He can't wear casual clothes.
Yeah,
That's
because like, they
100%
do a lot
true.
of whiteouts in their arena, so I've seen sometimes he's worn like a white button down, and that still doesn't look right.
But
He can only wear a baseball uniform and a three-piece suit and nothing in between.
Yeah.
This is
What
terrible.
a prison he lives in.
This is terrible, but it might be kind of personal. But does Ben Affleck reportedly maybe not working out with J-Lo make it look better for A-Rod that he couldn't work it out with J-Lo?
Interesting.
That's terrible to say.
The
but-
by association.
Yeah, I mean, because I think he got some heat because he was edited out of the J-Lo documentary
He definitely
on
was.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Also, shocker that her and Ben Affleck didn't work out for 20 years.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like I think
What do we expect?
Whenever you go back to your ex, I'm not saying it doesn't have work for some people, but it does not work.
Well,
for,
these two, it was never.
it was
gonna
never over these two, and it doesn't work from I think most people.
Also, bigger tragedy is just how unfunny Affleck was at the Brady roast.
True, but I got to tell you, J-Lo and Affleck were funny in that Dunkin' Donuts commercial. That felt like love to me.
You believe that more than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
How can you do an ad that's funny and not get along? Figure it out.
It's called acting.
Good actors there, especially Ben Affleck. Maybe J-Lo, I don't know, but
Yeah, by the way, who are the good actors there?
Damon.
You mean Damon?
Bogusch says headlines.
Jamal Murray was a huge reason why the Nuggets led by 15 at halftime and by 20 early in the third quarter of Game 7 last night in Denver, but he could do nothing to stop the T-Wolf rally.
I don't know. I feel like we should have won tonight. That's the tough part. You know, they beat us, but we had so many great opportunities, including myself. So it's just tough, man. I'm just excited for next year.
Minnesota won the second half 60-37, including a 28-9 third quarter run to win the game 98-90. Anthony Edwards only scored 16, shooting 6 of 24, but had 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and played terrific. Deion Murray and others late in the game. A less salty Michael Malone on falling apart.
Obviously, at halftime, they picked up their aggression, ran off our misses. They became aggressive, and then the second half, they totally dominated the glass.
So that was not a stupid question. 20 points is the largest blown lead in Game 7 history. The rally putting Minnesota in the Western Conference Final for just the second time, 20 years after the first. Game 1 with the Mavs is on Wednesday night. The Pacers will play in Boston tomorrow in their first East finale in a decade, and all it took was taking the last 2 games from the Knicks, including Game 7 at the Garden yesterday, 130-109. That included an NBA postseason record 67% shooting from the floor. The Knicks almost literally ran out of players yesterday. OG Anunoby tried to play, but only lasted 5 minutes on his bad hamstring. Josh Hart played through an abdominal strain, and then Jalen Brunson broke his left hand in the third quarter. Here's their head coach, Tom Thibodeau.
I thought guys gave everything they had, and that's all you could ask. And so it was a battle all year, and there was nothing left to give at the end.
Yes, I can't tell with the Knicks. Like, is this I think most fans are not happy with the outcome of losing, obviously, but more appreciative of the season you had rather than disappointed with how it ended because you realize it was just a war of attrition.
Yeah.
And that was it. But at the flip side, the Knicks also were the 2 seed.
Yeah.
Playing against a 6 seed where you have Game 7 at the Garden. So should you be, I mean, listen, once Brunson broke his hand, it was curtains. Like, he's been the end. He's been so much. And even when we didn't have good shooting nights and other guys picked it up, Brunson is still so crucial because he has the ball in his hand so much. But I can't tell.
Let's ask the Knicks fans.
Well, I mean, look, remember, we're talking about 2 seed versus 6 seed. You're talking about 3-game difference, right? So 50 wins for the Knicks, 47 wins for the Pacers. So this is not the usual 2-6 gap. And the Knicks 2 seed that earned that 2 seed was not the team that played in this series. And I think that for Knicks fans, I think it's frustrating to lose to the Pacers, especially because it's the Pacers. I can't believe there's a second year in a row where I have to root for the Celtics in an Eastern Conference Finals.
Wait, why?
Because I'm not rooting for the Pacers. Are you kidding me?
Is it Reggie? Like, back to the,
Yes.
don't you hate the
first of all, they
Celtics
beat the
just
Knicks.
as much
And second
as the
of all,
Pacers?
yes.
Why would you not hate the Celtics more than the Pacers?
Are you serious?
It's a
No, I kind of agree.
go way back.
Why would we hate the Celtics? The Celtics.
That rivalry's gone on for 50 years.
Wait, why do you have to root for anybody?
When was the last Celtics-Knicks rivalry that was important?
Okay, how about New York versus Boston? If the
I'm
Pacers
a
win,
Mets fan. I don't
Indy
care.
doesn't bother you.
I
But
hate
Boston?
the Patriots, but I don't care about the Red Sox. So that doesn't do anything for me.
Wait, you hate Andrew Nemhard? Or, like, who cares? It's
I
the
love
Pacers.
Andrew Nemhard. I'm a Gonzaga fan.
Right. But I'm just saying the Pacers are somewhat irrelevant in this.
Yeah.
No, not to Knicks fans. Pacers and Heat, that's a blood rivalry. And, like, what I will say is it could be generational. I'm a kid who grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, so I watched Reggie Miller and the Knicks battle in the Eastern Conference Finals. I watched the Heat and Knicks bludgeon each other for Eastern Conference championships. Like, I watched that happen. So for me, yes, maybe I am a little more leaning towards Heat and Pacers being over the Celtics, but I don't have these memories of the Celtics bludgeoning the Knicks for all these years.
But there's
that
also,
maybe my dad or my grandfather would.
Isn't it overrated? But we were talking about how Reggie being a Knick killer has been overrated.
Because it's a real rivalry, though. Like that's the difference, Maggie. I feel like I have no problem acknowledging Reggie Miller as a rival. What I think Knicks fans and I think people who know what happened in the 90s can't accept is that Reggie Miller owned the Knicks.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
But people should know that because we have a literal record of the wins and the losses. Like that's.
Oh, I wish they did.
You know it's not true. This is there was definitely the Knicks got the better of the Pacers a lot.
I got to get a hate order here. So I'll give you EJ the Pacers, the Heat, and the Sixers.
Oh, Sixers. I'm not even. I don't care about the Sixers.
Oh, the Sixers aren't a rival for
the
them?
Celtics.
I mean, it was a great series, and I hate Embiid because of what happened. But that's a one-off.
No, that's not a rival at all.
No, so it's Heat and Pacers. I mean, they're neck and neck. Probably the Heat only because I feel like they're the team that feels closer to like really winning a title. So like I don't like the Pacers are younger, but they don't really scare me for winning a championship. So there's no pain that's coming. Like I had to watch 2 NBA finals where I'm like, is the Heat actually going to win another championship?
Yeah.
I've lived through too many of those.
And also LeBron was spurned the Knicks to go to the Heat. I mean, there's a lot there.
Right. Pat Riley still runs the Heat. I mean, the Heat is it's another level with them.
Yeah, that must be. I'll bet you America would think it's Celtics and Knicks have been around since like 1940 playing each other.
Yeah, but again, like not.
But I think like generally like if you look up like greatest rivalries in sports history or basketball history, I'll bet you they must go way back.
There just needs to
be like a Dave DeBush or
big
Dave Cowens fight back.
Yeah, I mean,
50
honestly,
years
it's
ago.
like the 70s. There needs to be like a big Knicks-Celtics series. I mean, the Knicks beat the Celtics in 2013 in a first-round series that was kind of anonymous. The Celtics swept the Knicks a couple years earlier in a series that was kind of anonymous. Like,
didn't Melo play against the Celtics?
Was both those series Melo played. But everybody remembers what, Roy Hibbert blocking Melo at the rim. Everybody remembers Reggie Miller choke sign. Everybody remembers, 4-point play Larry Johnson. Like,
that
you know
I remember.
what I'm saying?
The rest of the place, I have no idea.
You remember the choke sign?
Tyrese Halliburton reminded us yesterday about the choke sign. So, I don't know if anybody remembers outside of New York or Boston anything that happened in those two series in the late aughts or early aughts.
See, and I was just figuring the Pacers leave and they go back to wherever, and you don't have to visually be bothered by them. There's going to be dopes walking around here in Celtics jerseys, and like in Manhattan, you're going to see somebody in Celtics crap for the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, depending on how long they play. So, I want that off the table.
But my thing is, they're going to go to the finals, and seeing them choke in the finals again is way more glorious than, they losing the Pacers would be annoying and be like, wow, how'd they do that? But I don't know. The Pacers, that is an organizational rivalry that is just I think to me, way bigger for most Knicks fans.
It is kind of bittersweet when your rival goes to the championship game, but then they lose because it's like, haha, you lost, but you made it there. It's like, can't really clown you for getting all the way to the finals.
I don't want to be this guy, but I'm just going to jump on because I'm
You
sure
are
I
that
will be. What if we get a Timberwolves Pacers finals? Has anybody considered this?
Like we all drew it up.
Yeah, I mean, what does Adam Silver do then? Forget all that conspiracy theory about helping out the big markets. Not going to happen. But I honestly feel like Adam Silver will get a ladder and block a game-winning shot by the Pacers to not let this happen.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
If it means the Pacers lose, I'll take that too.
Here's our second Drake mention of the segment. He lost $565,000 this weekend in a fight involving Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk in Saudi Arabia.
How do you afford that?
How about that? That's the fourth known 6-figure boxing loss of Drake's gambling career.
How much do you think he's got on
the worst?
How much do you think he's got on Tyson and Logan Paul, Jake Paul?
If you're either one of those guys, like every other sports team, you need to ask Drake to leave you alone.
Is his last name Muzahara? Drake Muzahara? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, eBay.
These boxing bets?
Shohei's a translator.
David Fletcher.
That's tough.
As at some point when you've lost, as far as we know, over $2 million betting on random boxing bouts, you should be required to give $2 million to something worthwhile.
Well, Kendrick Lamar said on Meet the Grams that you have gambling problems and money problems, and
1-800
Drake
gambler.
keeps proving him right with everything he's doing.
Well, this is like Michael Jordan when people ask him, "Oh, do you have a gambling problem?" He's like, "Well, if I did, I'd be broke and penniless." I'm like, I don't think it works that way. Do you have this unending fountain of money where you're never going to go broke because of some deal your parents made in 1984? It's not the same.
I just think what I don't understand though is why like someone like Drake or anybody who does these bets, there are a lot of folks who do this, why they think it's a flex to do this. Like to me, like
To show the losses. Or just to bet the big money?
No, just to bet it.
Okay.
Because I don't think he showed the losses. I think he showed his bet. And then now we know his bets. So now we know he lost.
But you get it.
But to me, it's like everyone assumes you have it. So like it's not like, I don't know. I don't think anybody, like if you won, I think everybody's like, okay, great. A rich person gets a little more richer.
I disagree. It's a great way to get publicity. I mean, famously, Mattress Mac in Houston does it to sell mattresses. So he'll lose $1 million on every series, but he's getting $1 million of publicity because every news outlet comes down.
I know the only thing is, though, does this help Drake?
Right.
Yeah, it kind of does. It adds to this mystique about Drake.
Oh, he becomes part of the story.
Honestly, I disagree because I feel like it leads to why people dislike him. I think they think of him as this like cornball.
But if he had won, I don't know, it'd be cool. I mean, honestly, I think Dave Portnoy at Barstool gets a lot out of it. Like a ton.
Oh, how much should he bet?
He bet $100,000 on the T-Wolves I saw, but it was at Michigan. He made a lot of headlines by betting some obscene number.
I mean, Dave
on
Portnoy
Michigan.
though is very polarizing.
Well, and he's tied into a sports book.
Right. That's part of his branding.
Right.
Like, and I think I don't know. Floyd Mayweather seems to be the king of sort of making pot. He just shows the wins,
Hey,
so
by the
he
way-
wins every bet. That's weird.
Which is always fun to do. Don't the IRS might come after you, but
No, because he's not showing the incredible losses.
is Floyd Mayweather? I got to do a little searching around.
What's wrong?
Wasn't one of the member of his traveling party detained at one point? In
Scottie Scheffler?
In the Middle East. Yeah. And then he went out and shot a 66. And it was really amazing.
I saw a random story that Floyd Mayweather was giving out like $10,000 to like homeless people in LA. I thought that's where you were going, but
so he's
no.
back.
He's around here.
Okay. I got to double check that story.
He will. He puts big bets out there, but I do not believe that he's showing all the bets. That's the key. You got to. I don't think if you could afford it. If I could bet $100,000, I would want to brag about it. Perloff bets $100,000 on the Mavs to beat the T-Wolves.
I just feel like we're talking about like Portnoy, Drake, Floyd. Like these are
Yeah,
people that have some enemies. Let's just put it that way. I'm not saying that they don't have a 100 approval rating. And a lot of people love them, but it goes the other way as well.
They're not pixie sticks?
No, they're not Pixie Sticks or cotton candy.
Oh, yeah.
Or what's it? Fun dip?
Fun dip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say so. I'm not. 855-212-4227. Nah. Coming up next, we do have one big story from the weekend. Someone a big redemption moment. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So, little Caitlin Clark update for you if you didn't catch her game over the weekend. It was Saturday. 34 minutes. She shot 9 for 17, 4 for 10 from 3, finished with 22 points. The turnovers are still a problem. 8 turnovers, but did dish out 8 assists as well. Liberty beat them, and it seems like the Fever only play the Liberty or the Sun, who they're playing tonight. Only lost by 11, though, Perloff, which is better than the 30 whatever they lost by last time.
Yeah, I'm maintaining my point. It does not matter if win or lose. Get some Caitlin Clark logo threes on the old gram, and we're fine. And that's what we got. That's all. Her expectations this year are not winning. It, I think, is scoring and making highlight plays, and she's starting to do that. Well, she had one game where she did that, so that was very encouraging.
Yep. So third game in, and she's 40% from 3 and looking a lot more respectable on the shooting line. But again, lots of turnovers and not a lot of winning. But
yeah, I mean, but she still does that crossover, step back 3. It's still exciting. And let's be fair, Wemby, and I keep using the Wemby analogy. Wemby didn't win it all, but it was still exciting. She can have a Wemby-like Rookie of the Year campaign, which is still not a sure thing. I mean, the WNBA is clearly tough. Every time I've watched, I'm like, oh, that's not college defense.
No.
But it's still exciting.
Okay, so that's a little Caitlin Clark update for you. Again, they play tonight again. Indiana does against the Sun. So you ready to give out your bet for today? After you, I know, don't want to air your dirty laundry here, but I believe you had the Knicks in 7.
Oh my God, yes. I'm shocked that they did not win that Game 7 at home. I was one of those suckers who saw those former guys on the bench. I was like, that is a madhouse in Madison Square Garden. There's no way the Pacers win this game. Still don't know what happened. Okay.
Well, we know injuries.
Got another Game 7 tonight. And, I'm a huge Connor McDavid fan, massive.
Yeah, we know that.
Because I saw one game in Vegas during Super Bowl week and then decided this is my team.
Yeah.
The NHL never gets good things, and I think the Canucks win tonight. That is my theory. The NHL does not. They need Connor McDavid to go to the finals and hoist the Stanley Cup, and I just do not see it happening because the NHL keeps on slipping on the banana peel and not getting their biggest star through.
Interesting. So right now the Canucks are the underdog. It's plus 140 on the money line. So if that does come true, you'd be making out with a nice little win. I'm going to go Edmonton. I'm going to go against you on this. I don't want to put any stakes on it.
Yeah.
No way. I already have to eat the lime jello with the tuna fish and the green olives.
Well, the steak sounds better than that.
Right. If I could do a steak, I would do it.
What are foods that are famous for Vancouver and Edmonton? I assume
I can't.
Rocky Mountain oysters are probably good in Edmonton.
I'm still recovering off of and digesting the fact that I'm going to have to digest this lime jello tuna fish thing.
What about yellow snow?
Thanks, man. He wants to die.
I think Vancouver has a lot of fresh salmon. You don't like salmon?
No, I do. I can't make another food bet with you right now. I haven't paid off the lime jello yet. We have to figure out when that's going to happen. I'm not eating a lime jello until after EJ runs the gassers. We have to have a little order around here.
Boo.
All right.
What is
You
that?
got to pay off all the bets in a row.
What do I have to do anything?
It's like there's an order here. Your bet lost, then my bet lost.
Why don't we forget a bet where it's a negative thing, where we have to eat something good off of and hockey's great because I'm looking at foods that are famous for both Vancouver and Edmonton. Poutine, which is delicious.
Oh, yeah.
You like
big fan.
French fries with
Pixie
gravy?
sticks and poutine, huh?
And
man.
cheese?
Give me all of that.
Poutine is close to the perfect food. It is amazing in every way.
Never had it.
Oh.
It looks amazing, though.
Yeah, I mean, just gravy, cheese, all good.
I've never had it either. Is it hot? You eat it hot?
You got to get it hot because if you let it cool, then the cheese becomes a little
Cheese
tricky.
curds good, though?
Yes. Cheese curds are amazing, and they're better. They melt
taste
really
just
well.
like cheese to me.
Okay.
They are just cheese.
It looks a little weird.
No, it just tastes like any other type of. It doesn't matter
exactly.
the form of it.
Yeah.
I remember checking into a hotel in Madison, and they just had in your room. They have like a nice little welcome plate of cheese curds for you. I was like, this is a first.
I'm a big fan of cheese curds.
Fried cheese curds, too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they had fried Snickers bars at the carnival I was telling you about.
Oh, that sounds good.
Cotton candy and fried Snickers.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like, when did this become the Texas State Fair?
delicious.
But no fried butter, unfortunately.
I can pass on the fried butter.
Get them next year.
No fried Oreos?
No, just the Snickers bars.
Oh, see, that's my thing I make all the time.
Fried Oreo. You make them at home.
Yeah. Really good.
That's indulgent.
I mean, it's not every day.
If it was every day, we'd have an intervention.
Yeah.
Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez. Thank you to Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedos Coffee Drinkers. You guys are the best. See you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.